Yo, Atlas speaking, and welcome to part 6 of What If I Was Reincarnated into Naruto as the blind shinobi of the main branch Hyuga clan. Let the tale begin. Chapter 151, Kakuzu and Hidan ambled leisurely through the densely wooded forest when, quite unexpectedly, a kunai adorned with an explosive tag descended between them. Reacting with swift precision, both Kakuzu and Hidan promptly distanced themselves from the potential danger. Damn it! Who's the audacious bastard launching an attack from behind? Hidan exclaimed, his irritation palpable as he directed his profanity towards the unseen assailant responsible for the kunai assault. In stark contrast, Kakuzu, maintaining his characteristic stoicism, refrained from verbalizing his discontent. Instead, he intently scanned the surroundings, his discerning gaze anticipating the approach of formidable adversaries. Before long, Kakuzu and Hidan found themselves confronted by an elite team from Konoha, comprised of Shikamaru, Ino, Choji, Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura, and Hyuga Hido. Today, neither of you shall depart this forest alive. The price for taking the life of our sensei will be exacted with your own, Shikamaru proclaimed sternly, his resolve unwavering. Turning to his assembled team, Shikamaru issued concise instructions. Let us adhere to the meticulously crafted plan we've formulated. As Shikamaru's resonant voice subsided, the team seamlessly executed their preconceived strategy. Ino Shikacho synchronized their efforts to assail Hidan, compelling him to sever ties with Kakuzu. Concurrently, Naruto and Kakashi, propelled by remarkable speed, advanced towards Kakuzu, effectively implementing a tactical pincer movement to isolate both adversaries. Naruto, propelled by determination, launched a relentless attack on Kakuzu, his fist driving forward with unwavering resolve. In response, Kakuzu met this offensive move with an air of disdain, remarking, "Engaging in close combat with me, you truly display a lack of foresight. It appears you neglected to conduct thorough research before launching this assault." Executing the formidable Earth Release, Earth Spear, Kakuzu infused his fist with a palpable darkness, colliding with Naruto's fist in a powerful clash. As expected, the force of the impact sent Naruto hurtling backward, the visible pain etched across his face. However, the Naruto in mid-flight abruptly vanished within the encompassing embrace of a white cloud of smoke. Observing Naruto's swift disappearance within the smoky veil, Kakuzu astutely identified the technique at play, stating, "Shadow clone. The real body must be concealed nearby," Kakuzu mused, actively seeking to pinpoint the genuine location of Naruto amidst the concealed surroundings. In an unexpected turn of events, Kakuzu, attuned to his surroundings, sensed a subtle disturbance. Glancing upward, he witnessed Naruto descending towards him, a pair of fully formed Rasengans clutched in both hands. As Kakuzu contemplated the mystery of Naruto's mid-air appearance, a realization dawned upon him. Just before the initial attack, Naruto had skillfully thrown a kunai into the air. With this revelation, Kakuzu understood that Naruto had employed a clever transformation technique, assuming the guise of a kunai, which explained his sudden appearance above in the aerial assault. Kakuzu bore the formidable impact of both Rasengans, his body propelled through the air. Just before the Rasengans made contact, he skillfully invoked Earth Release, Earth Spear, causing his entire form to darken. Despite the considerable damage to his Akatsuki robe, Kakuzu emerged unharmed, his pride evident as he asserted, "No form of physical attack will prove effective against me." This sense of invincibility, however, was abruptly shattered. A sudden, piercing hand thrust into his heart from behind, enveloped in crackling lightning. Kakuzu's experienced gaze immediately identified the assailant as none other than Kakashi. "From my eyes, nothing escapes. When your body turns black, you resort to Earth Release ninjutsu, and Lightning Release is the bane of Earth Release," Kakashi explained with a calm certainty. Acknowledging Kakashi's perceptive analysis, Kakuzu responded, "I see, Kakashi of the Sharingan. No wonder you could unravel my jutsu." With these words, Kakuzu seized Kakashi's impaling hand. "But now, you meet your end," he declared ominously. In an instant, his hand disconnected from the elbow, tethered by thick black strings. Guided by Kakuzu's masterful control, the severed hand moved with remarkable speed, delivering a forceful and calculated strike toward Kakashi, who braced for the impending clash. Nevertheless, Kakuzu faced a formidable challenge in attempting to harm Kakashi, especially with the formidable duo of Naruto and Sakura in close proximity. In a swift response, Sakura positioned herself in front of Kakashi, her fist colliding resolutely with Kakuzu's. The force of the impact sent Sakura recoiling backward, yet, at the very least, her determined efforts succeeded in impeding Kakuzu's forward assault. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Kakuzu comprehended that he needed to approach this confrontation with the utmost seriousness. The stakes were dire, his very life hung in the balance, with defeat equating to his inevitable demise. Acting decisively, Kakuzu shed his distinctive robe, unveiling 4 monstrous masks affixed to his back. It became evident that these 4 masks served as vessels for Kakuzu's backup hearts, underscoring the pivotal nature of the impending clash. The masks materialized from Kakuzu's body, assuming the semblance of distinct beasts as they strategically positioned themselves beside him. Amidst strategizing how to deal with Kakashi and Sakura, Kakuzu's attention was abruptly diverted by a tumultuous uproar. Turning his gaze toward the source of the disturbance, he beheld an astonishing sight, a multitude of Naruto clones, each wielding a Rasengan in hand, numbering well over 100. Naruto, leading the charge, bellowed at the top of his lungs, Rasengan barrage. The sheer spectacle left Kakuzu in a state of profound shock as the relentless onslaught of Naruto clones closed in, their potent Rasengans poised for a devastating collective strike. Chapter 152, Kakuzu, with a certainty etched in his mind, acknowledged that facing the barrage of Naruto's numerous Rasengans would leave him far from unscathed. Adding to the complexity, Kakashi and Sakura, both formidable and cunning opponents, loomed behind him. Taking strategic charge, Kakuzu used the Wind Mask and Fire Mask, orchestrating their attacks against Kakashi and Sakura, respectively, while reserving his own prowess for the confrontation with Naruto and his shadow clones. As the proximity between Naruto and Kakuzu diminished, the latter initiated a series of intricate hand seals, culminating in the release of a powerful technique water release, Wild Water Wave. This surging water wave found its mark, striking Naruto and his shadow clones with remarkable speed. However, the resourcefulness of Naruto and his shadow clones came to the forefront as they deftly evaded a direct impact by strategically placing their Rasengans as a protective barrier. This tactical maneuver allowed Naruto and his shadow clones to press forward, traversing the water wave with unwavering determination. Admittedly, a fraction of the less adept shadow clones succumbed to the force, being washed away and ultimately dismantled. It is worth noting, though, that only 40% of the original shadow clones conjured by Naruto fell prey to this aquatic onslaught, showcasing the resilience of his strategic prowess. Observing Naruto and his shadow clones steadily advancing toward him, Kakuzu maintained a stoic demeanor, recognizing that this was merely the preliminary phase of the calculated attack he intended to unleash. Unperturbed, he stood firm, aware that there was more to come. Positioned beside him, the Thunder Mask discharged lightning into the surging water wave, resulting in the comprehensive annihilation of Naruto's shadow clones. Faced with this imminent threat, Naruto's main body swiftly enacted the substitution technique, deftly evading the destructive aftermath. Having deftly executed the substitution technique, Naruto chose not to seek refuge behind the cover of trees or any similar obstruction. Instead, he materialized directly in front of Kakuzu, adopting an upright posture that exuded resilience and determination. "You are no match for me, boy," Kakuzu asserted confidently, his tone carrying a blend of assurance and superiority as he gauged Naruto's response to the unfolding confrontation. "Really? It seems you're forgetting that I am a Jinchuriki," Naruto calmly asserted. Following this proclamation, he seamlessly transitioned into the formidable tailed beast mode. This, however, was no ordinary transformation. Naruto's manifestation was marked by the presence of 3 tails, each crafted from pure orange Jinchuriki chakra, elegantly swaying behind him. Impressively, there was no discernible sign of him spiraling into an uncontrollable state. The key to Naruto's maintained sanity lay in a pivotal interaction with Hagoromo. Prompted by Hagoromo to instill trust in Naruto and extend unwavering support, Kurama voluntarily ceased its influence on Naruto's mind, refraining from any interference. The absence of access to the Kurama mode for Naruto was a consequence of various factors. Firstly, Naruto hadn't entirely placed his trust in Kurama, and the seal binding Kurama remained securely intact. Additionally, lingering negative emotions within him, yet unaddressed and unconquered, acted as a hindrance to unlocking Kurama's full potential. Consequently, Naruto's current limitation extended to a maximum of 4 tails, with the potential to push himself to the 5 tails mode at most. Beyond this threshold, the risk of losing his sanity once again loomed ominously, underscoring the delicate balance Naruto had to maintain. Naruto's determination blazed in his eyes as he clenched his fist, infusing an abundant surge of chakra into his right hand. This conjured a potent chakra fist that enveloped his entire hand. Swift and focused, Naruto propelled himself forward at a breathtaking speed, materializing right in front of Kakuzu. With unwavering resolve, he unleashed a powerful punch aimed squarely at Kakuzu's face. Refusing to be outmatched, Kakuzu retaliated with the formidable Earth Spear technique. His upper body underwent a transformation, taking on a deep, obsidian hue, and his fist became a formidable force, cloaked in black. The clash of Naruto's chakra fist and Kakuzu's Earth Spear-enhanced attack created a spectacular display of raw power. Despite the robust defense and augmented attack capabilities granted by Earth Release, Earth Spear, Kakuzu found himself overpowered by Naruto's relentless assault. The sheer force of Naruto's blows sent Kakuzu skidding backward, trailing along the ground. True to his unwavering determination, Naruto refused to grant Kakuzu a moment's reprieve. Without pause, he doggedly pursued Kakuzu, ensuring that his opponent had no breathing space or opportunity to mount a defense. The intensity of Naruto's pursuit underscored his commitment to keeping Kakuzu on the defensive, seizing the advantage in this high-stakes encounter. Despite finding himself the target of Naruto's impending attack, Kakuzu displayed a remarkable absence of surprise or fear. This seemingly paradoxical response found its explanation as the situation unfolded. It transpired that Kakuzu's lightning mask, a potent ally, remained strategically dormant, refraining from unleashing its formidable offensive capabilities. As Naruto closed in within the effective range of the lightning mask, a dense lightning beam discharged from its mouth with swift precision, catching Naruto off guard. Despite Naruto's innate ability to sense the impending assault, his reactions proved inadequate to evade the attack, resulting in a direct and forceful impact from the formidable lightning beam. The aftermath of the lightning mask's assault left Naruto in a state of serious injury, with the brunt of the damage concentrated on his right shoulder and chest. Blood flowed as a visible testament to the severity of the strike. However, any fleeting sense of triumph Kakuzu may have felt was swiftly replaced with astonishment as Naruto's injuries embarked on an unexpectedly rapid healing journey. This remarkable regeneration was attributed to Naruto's activated Tailed Beast mode, a formidable force that swiftly countered the physical toll of the lightning mask's attack. This unexpected turn of events thwarted Kakuzu's hopes of reveling in the success of his lightning-infused assault, underscoring the formidable nature of Naruto's Tailed Beast mode and the enduring challenge he posed in this high-stakes confrontation. Chapter 153, Enduring the brunt of the formidable attack, Naruto's countenance shifted into a visage of anger, his face contorting into a ferocious expression. Despite Kakuzu's prior assault failing to inflict substantial harm on Naruto, the seasoned antagonist discerned an opportune moment to initiate a renewed offensive. With strategic finesse, Kakuzu redirected his Fire Mask and Wind Mask, previously engaged with Kakashi and Sakura, towards his side, consolidating his active masks to 3. As the Fire Mask seamlessly combined with Wind Mask, they coalesced their energies, conjuring a synchronized release of fire and wind jutsu from their combined mouths. This collaborative effort materialized into a formidable wave of fire hurtling inexorably toward Naruto. Fully cognizant of the imminent fire wave, Naruto chose to defy instinct, giving up evasion in favor of a bold charge directly into its path. This seemingly perplexing decision cast a veil of confusion over Kakashi and Sakura, who watched in suspense as Naruto sprinted fearlessly toward the oncoming blaze. Speculation and concern filled the air, with the gathering acknowledging the gravity of Naruto's actions. While Kakashi and Sakura couldn't shake off their lingering worries about Naruto's well-being, the seasoned duo couldn't discount the possibility that Naruto's seemingly reckless charge was part of a meticulously calculated strategy. As Naruto found himself submerged in the all-encompassing fire wave, a scenario that, under different circumstances, might have been a cause for celebration for Kakuzu, the latter's countenance revealed no semblance of joy. Instead, a solemn expression adorned Kakuzu's face, as if he sensed the emergence of something even more ominous from the engulfing flames. Kakuzu's disconcerting premonition manifested as a red, four-tailed beast emerged from the dissipating fire wave. This formidable entity signified Naruto's version 2 of the tailed beast mode. Naruto's movements were a blur of speed, leaving Kakuzu struggling to keep pace. Before Kakuzu could formulate a coherent response, Naruto took control of Kakuzu's fire and wind masks. With remarkable speed and precision, Naruto tightly clenched the two masks, one exhaling fire, the other releasing wind, in his hands. Simultaneously, Naruto crushed the masks, a display of his relentless assault. However, Naruto's onslaught didn't conclude there. With a swift and forceful movement of his leg, he planted his foot on Kakuzu's head, embedding the antagonist's face firmly into the ground. This exhibition of Naruto's strength and agility left Kakuzu reeling, a resounding testament to the formidable power wielded by Naruto in his version 2 of the tailed beast mode. The battleground now bore witness to Naruto's unyielding determination and the unleashed might of the tailed beast within him. Fortunately, at the last moment, Kakuzu deftly employed the substitution technique. Had he failed to do so, his fate would have been sealed, with death looming as a certainty. At the very least, he would have been incapacitated, given the colossal impact that Naruto's leg wrought upon the terrain. The ground beneath bore witness to the aftermath, transformed into an expansive crater. Notably, the wooden log substituting for Kakuzu proved no match for the force of Naruto's blow, resembling more a fragile cotton log than sturdy wood. Having suffered the loss of two hearts, Kakuzu's visage contorted into a distinctly unsightly expression. He now found himself with just a solitary lightning backup heart, in addition to the heart residing within his body. In response to Kakuzu's released killing intent, Naruto swiftly honed in on the antagonist's current location. Without a second to spare, a substantial tailed beast bomb materialized in front of Naruto. The four-tailed manifestation of Naruto adeptly consumed the tailed beast's bomb, and from his being emanated a thick red energy beam, the tangible embodiment of the formidable tailed beast beam. The battlefield crackled with the intensified energy. As a seasoned veteran, Kakuzu maintained a composed demeanor, skillfully evading Naruto's formidable tailed beast beam. However, this tactical maneuver came at a significant cost. His left hand didn't suffer a mere severing but was utterly obliterated, the most apt term being vaporized by Naruto's overwhelming attack. Surviving this intense assault, Kakuzu's countenance became solemn as he contemplated the daunting task of devising a strategic retreat from Naruto's unmatched strength. Now left with only two hearts, one within his body and the other functioning as a backup within his lightning release mask, Kakuzu faced the reality of Naruto's overwhelming prowess. Decisive by nature, Kakuzu acknowledged the gaping power disparity between himself and Naruto. Opting to avoid certain defeat at the hands of the formidable shinobi, he chose the path of strategic retreat. With this decision, the remaining heart within the lightning mask began to reposition itself, standing alongside Kakuzu in preparation for their departure. "You undeniably wield great power. I can see that I am no match for you. Perhaps fate will bring us together again on another day," Kakuzu admitted, his words carrying a rare acknowledgement of defeat. Just as he was initiating the body flicker technique to vanish from the scene, an unexpected turn of events unraveled. Kakuzu was suddenly seized by a piercing pain in his chest, and after coughing up blood, he knelt on the ground in disbelief. "How is this possible?" Kakuzu exclaimed incredulously. "My heart was intact just a moment ago." His words trailed off as Kakuzu paused, recollecting a crucial detail. Turning his gaze towards Kakashi and the others, his expression morphed into one of disbelief, realizing the unexpected twist in the unfolding events. Chapter 154, Why Can't It Be Possible? Sakura exclaimed with an air of incredulity. After all, doesn't your teammate possess the extraordinary ability to end someone's life with just a single drop of blood? In response to Sakura's words, Kakuzu found himself gripped by shock. His mind immediately engaged in a contemplative exercise, attempting to recollect the specific instance when his vital fluid had been extracted. The task proved relatively uncomplicated, and Kakuzu swiftly pieced together the memory. It became apparent that during the confrontation with Kakashi, the latter had penetrated Kakuzu's chest, and in that critical moment, had extracted a sample of Kakuzu's blood. An expression of unwillingness etched itself across Kakuzu's countenance as he met his demise. With Kakashi and Sakura exhaling audible sighs of relief, the tension in the air began to dissipate. Concurrently, Naruto, who had been in the formidable Four-Tails mode, underwent a gradual transformation, reverting to his normal state. However, the aftermath of utilizing the Four-Tails mode manifested as an evident toll on Naruto. Audible groans of pain escaped him, and he knelt on the ground, his demeanor conveying the intensity of the suffering he endured. This vocal expression of discomfort served as a clear indication that this was not Naruto's inaugural experience with the Four-Tails mode. Had it been his first encounter, one could surmise that he would have found himself reduced to crawling on the ground due to the severity of the pain. Kakashi turned toward Naruto and said in a measured tone, "Why don't you take a well-deserved rest right here? Sakura and I will lend our support to the Inoshikacho trio as they engage in their confrontation with Hidan." As Kakashi relayed these instructions, his back remained turned toward the lifeless form of Kakuzu, a silent testament to the recent intense battle. Simultaneously, as Kakashi continued conversing with Naruto, a curious transformation took place in Kakuzu's clenched fist, as it gradually darkened. The ominous change signaled an imminent and hostile development. With swift and almost unnatural speed, Kakuzu's hand propelled forward, its velocity surpassing that of a speeding bullet. It was evident that Kakuzu harbored a ruthless intent to eliminate Kakashi with this formidable punch. Naruto, always quick to react, keenly observed Kakuzu's sudden aggression. In a remarkable display of agility and determination, Naruto swiftly positioned himself between Kakashi and the impending strike. Cloaked in the protective shroud of tailed beast chakra, he crossed his arms over his chest, ready to absorb the impact. Despite successfully intercepting Kakuzu's forceful blow, the sheer power of the attack compelled Naruto to stagger backward, grappling with its force. From his vantage point behind Naruto, Kakashi interjected, "You needn't have taken such a risk. I had sensed the impending attack and was preparing to evade it. There was no immediate danger to me." His words carried a tone of reassurance, emphasizing that Naruto's intervention, though well-intentioned, may have been unnecessary. Naruto did not contest this fact because Kakashi's statement held undeniable truth. Even as Naruto endeavored to defend Kakashi, by that point, Kakashi had deftly shifted away from his original position. Therefore, even if Naruto had refrained from intervening, no untoward consequences would have befallen Kakashi. Contemplating the lifeless form of Kakuzu, Naruto mused aloud, "It seems your tenacity for life is truly remarkable." In response to Naruto's words, Kakuzu, who appeared lifeless, unexpectedly rose to his feet, and his fist seamlessly reattached itself to his remaining left arm. Kakuzu's continued existence stemmed from his ability to endure, as the attack from Hidan had pierced his fourth heart. Despite the various expressions crossing Kakuzu's face, Naruto paid them little attention. With determination, he entered the tailed beast mode of the Nine Tails, concurrently crafting a Rasengan in his hand. Slowly but steadily, blades materialized around the Rasengan, producing an even more ominous sound. The technique Naruto wielded in that moment was none other than the fearsome Rasenshuriken. It was worth noting that while Naruto could rightfully claim mastery over the Rasenshuriken, credit for its creation in this particular lifetime rightfully belonged to Juryoku. Observing the unfolding jutsu, Kakuzu immediately entertained thoughts of escape. However, evading proved to be no simple task. In a split-second maneuver, Kakashi materialized beside Kakuzu, brandishing a razor-sharp kunai in a swift attack. To Kakuzu's credit, he deftly sidestepped the assault, aiming to make a quick exit. Little did he know, Sakura had strategically positioned herself precisely where Kakuzu intended to retreat. Capitalizing on the opportunity, Sakura unleashed a forceful punch that sent Kakuzu airborne, hurtling in the direction of Naruto. Despite the apparent duration of this entire sequence, the events transpired with lightning speed. In that ephemeral moment, Naruto, Rasenshuriken poised in hand, launched the swirling vortex of chakra toward Kakuzu. This time, Kakuzu found himself unable to evade the incoming Rasenshuriken. Upon impact, a torrent of wind needles encapsulated within the technique infiltrated Kakuzu's body, instigating destructive forces within. The powerful onslaught of the Rasenshuriken wreaked havoc on Kakuzu's internal structure, resulting in the disintegration of his body from the inside out. The profound impact of Naruto's technique left Kakuzu incapacitated and defeated. Covered in blood, Kakuzu crumpled to the ground, sealing his fate. This time, there was no doubt about his demise, as all 5 of his hearts had been utterly obliterated. "We did it!" "Another Akatsuki member defeated," exclaimed Naruto, a radiant smile illuminating his face. Witnessing Naruto's remarkable growth in power, Kakashi and Sakura couldn't help but share in the satisfaction, their smiles reflecting a sense of accomplishment. "Kakashi-sensei, we should make our way immediately to assist Shikamaru and the others. They must be currently engaged in a fierce battle with Hidan," proposed Naruto. Upon hearing Naruto's insightful suggestion, Kakashi nodded approvingly. Just as they were preparing to depart, a voice resonated. "I had speculated that after Hagoromo's conversation with Kurama, you, Naruto Uzumaki, would undoubtedly undergo a substantial surge in strength. However, the extent of your newfound power has managed to even surprise me." The unexpected voice introduced a moment of pause, prompting the trio to turn their attention to the source. Chapter 155. As the trio collectively turned their attention toward the origin of the sound, a revelation unfolded before them. The individual who had addressed them was none other than Juryoku, currently suspended in midair. "Juryoku!" exclaimed Naruto, his voice tinged with shock, as his gaze fixed upon the levitating figure. The presence of Juryoku left the trio in a state of confusion, prompting Kakashi to inquire, "What brings you here?" "I heard about Asuma's demise, and so I've come to converse with Ino and my other friends, ensuring her well-being. Simultaneously, I intend to confront and dispatch the immortal duo of Akatsuki. Despite Asuma being a trash according to me, he served as the guardian ninja of the Fire Nation. Thus, his demise must not be in vain," articulated Juryoku. Naruto, now with a slightly angered tone, queried, "What did you just say? In these years, have you, by any chance, developed any maladies in your ears or something of the sort?" "I've stated my position, and I don't find it necessary to reiterate myself," expressed Juryoku. "You labeled Asuma-sensei as trash," Naruto pointed out. "My apologies. I'm acquainted with only one word that aptly characterizes an individual who, in my perspective, is feeble, holds no value in my eyes, can be effortlessly crushed like an ant by me, and evokes a sense of disgust, and that word is trash. Do you happen to have an alternative term that encapsulates these particular qualities? If so, please be my guest and share it. I'm more than willing to employ that term to describe your aforementioned Asuma-sensei," elaborated Juryoku. Juryoku's intentions weren't to deliberately provoke Naruto, but his authentic sentiments towards Asuma portrayed individuals like Hiruzen and Asuma as hypocrites, projecting one image to the world while concealing a contrasting reality within themselves. "Take back what you just said about Asuma-sensei," demanded Naruto, his tone infused with visible anger. "Who, and what leads you to believe that I would reconsider my statement merely because you request it? Are you so assured in your strength that you feel capable of challenging me?" inquired Juryoku. "While I may not have a complete understanding of my own power, there's one thing I'm certain of: you cannot speak about Asuma-sensei in that manner. Take back your words or else." Before Naruto could conclude his statement, Juryoku casually flicked his finger in Naruto's direction. The force propelled Naruto through the air like a ragdoll, and he collided with a small hill. The impact was significant, causing rocks from the hill to tumble and scatter on the ground, obscuring the view of Naruto. "Or else? Well, Hello there. I'm all ears. Please, continue, said Juryoku, extending his right hand in the direction where Naruto had been sent flying, a teasing smile playing on his face. For the next few moments, a palpable calm settled over the surroundings. Kakashi and Sakura, their faces etched with worry, especially Kakashi, who wore a particularly solemn expression, sensed a profound shift in Juryoku's power. It was evident that, compared to 6 months ago, Juryoku had grown significantly stronger. In a sudden burst of force, the rocks concealing Naruto erupted, releasing an immense surge of chakra. The once obscured Naruto emerged, now transformed into the formidable four-tailed version. With remarkable speed, Naruto swiftly disappeared from his initial position, materializing in front of Juryoku in a swift blur of red. In a swift motion, he unleashed a flurry of punches toward Juryoku. Excellent, Juryoku praised. Following his words, he, too, clenched his fist and delivered a forceful punch towards Naruto. The collision of their fists was impactful, and the aftermath became apparent as Naruto, despite being in his four-tailed form, struggled to withstand the sheer force. He was propelled backward, dragged along the ground. The glaring contrast in strength became evident in this moment. While engaging with Naruto, Juryoku refrained from utilizing gravity or any form of haki, relying solely on his unbridled, physical brute strength. Defeated once again by Juryoku, Naruto roared in a potent mix of frustration and anger. His intense emotional turmoil triggered the growth of another tail, elevating him to the five-tailed version. As Naruto readied himself for another assault on Juryoku, his intentions were abruptly thwarted. A formidable gravitational force, wielded by Juryoku, gripped Naruto, rendering him immobile and effectively sealing his ability to move forward. "Do not embarrass yourself, you are no match for me. Just lie down there obediently," taunted Juryoku. However, expecting compliance from Naruto, who now embodied the formidable five-tail mode, seemed futile. Rather than pacifying the situation, Juryoku's words exacerbated Naruto's anger. Another roar erupted from Naruto, this time accompanied by the growth of yet another tail, adorned with bones covering his outer body. In this dramatic transformation, the six-tailed version of Naruto emerged, signifying a surge in both his power and determination to face Juryoku. Chapter 156. Upon entering the formidable six-tail mode, Naruto initiated the intricate process of gathering both blue and red chakra, meticulously shaping them into a potent-tailed beast bomb. With unwavering focus, he directed the explosive energy towards Juryoku. Observing the impending danger, Juryoku shook his head in a display of nonchalance. Swiftly wielding his sword, a colossal black slash emanated from the blade. The formidable strike sliced through the tailed beast bomb, severing it in half and diminishing its momentum, causing it to descend towards the earth. Kakashi, vigilant from the ground, quickly assessed the situation. With Sakura still grounded, he urgently conveyed, "Not good. Escape immediately." In response to Kakashi's urgent directive, both Kakashi and Sakura swiftly executed the body flicker technique, disappearing from their original positions. Conversely, Juryoku, standing undeterred, chose not to evade. Instead, he harnessed his formidable abilities to conjure a gravity barrier, a resilient shield capable of withstanding the imminent explosion. The barrier served as an impenetrable fortress, leaving Juryoku unaffected and unharmed by the formidable assault launched by Naruto. It appears that the battle between Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji against Hidan is reaching its conclusion, Juryoku mused. "I cannot afford to invest any more time in this seemingly futile confrontation," declared Juryoku. Following this statement, he proceeded to elevate the gravitational force acting upon Naruto, effectively immobilizing the six-tailed version of Naruto just as he was on the brink of breaking free from the suppressive gravitational field. With Naruto securely fixed in place, Juryoku extended his hand and announced, "Multiple gravity bullets." The atmosphere surrounding Juryoku began to distort, giving rise to small, orb-like structures that took the form of gravity bullets. These gravity bullets, a result of the concentrated gravitational forces, manifested with remarkable precision as Juryoku swung his hand towards Naruto. Moving at an incredible speed, the black projectile struck Naruto with pinpoint accuracy. The external bone structure that enveloped Naruto's six-tailed body proved insufficient to withstand the formidable impact of the gravity bullets, resulting in a myriad of holes puncturing the protective layer. Simultaneously, the six-tailed incarnation of Naruto suffered extensive damage. Despite the inherent rapid recovery abilities associated with the tailed beast mode, the severity of the pain and injuries inflicted by this relentless attack compelled Naruto to involuntarily revert from the transformative state. Weak, too weak, Juryoku lamented, shaking his head in disappointment, and then promptly departed from the scene. What kind of strength is this? Even in his six-tailed mode, Naruto was defeated just like that, Kakashi commented, his gaze fixed on the sky where Juryoku had stood. As Kakashi's words hung in the air, Juryoku, positioned aloft, dissolved into nothingness. Afterimage, Kakashi muttered knowingly. Juryoku's departure had been so swift that even a full second afterward, his afterimage lingered, a testament to the speed at which he had vanished. Kakashi and Sakura approached Naruto, extending their assistance to help him stand. Upon regaining his footing, Naruto expressed his frustration, questioning, "Why, Kakashi-sensei? Why, after putting in so much effort and training, was I defeated by him? It's reminiscent of my childhood when he easily overpowered me. As a child, I was no match for him, deemed unworthy of serious consideration. Now, the outcome remains the same, and the irony is that he wasn't even serious, just a casual flick of his finger, and I was defeated. I don't have any comforting words to offer. What I can only convey is that he has ascended to a level where even his casual flicks manifest as devastating attacks. You were witness to his battle 6 months ago. In this entire world, there is no one who can match him. Furthermore, I can sense that his strength has risen to an even greater height," Kakashi stated, and within his voice, there lingered a subtle sense of awe. Naruto, upon absorbing Kakashi's words, couldn't help but feel a deep sadness. Witnessing Naruto's emotional response, Kakashi and Sakura, understanding his state, gently assisted him in taking a seat. As Naruto settled into his seat, Kakashi continued, "It seems prudent for us to wait here. Once Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji conclude their dealings with Hidan, they will join us." Sakura, in agreement with Kakashi, chimed in, "With Juryoku's presence, Hidan's resolution is inevitable." Juryoku made his appearance above the battleground where Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji were locked in fierce combat with Hidan. However, instead of immediately descending into the fray, Juryoku chose to remain suspended in the air. He keenly observed the unfolding situation, recognizing that Hidan was on the brink of defeat at the hands of the Ino-Shikacho trio. In a deliberate decision, Juryoku refrained from descending to engage with Hidan directly. His choice was motivated by a desire not to overshadow the efforts of Shikamaru and the others, allowing them the satisfaction of avenging their teacher without his direct intervention. This restraint demonstrated Juryoku's respect for their battle and his willingness to let them take full credit for the accomplishment. Chapter 157. Despite the concerted and strategic efforts of Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino, the outcome of the battle with Hidan stubbornly clung to an unaltered state. The predominant reason for this prolonged struggle lay in Hidan's inherent immortality, presenting an insurmountable challenge. The sole recognized method to definitively vanquish Hidan necessitated the dismemberment of his body into distinct pieces, which were then to be buried underground, effectively sealing away his immortal essence. This tactical approach stemmed from Shikamaru's insightful comprehension of Hidan's characteristics, drawing from the available information at hand. However, had Shikamaru possessed knowledge of Hidan's unusual vulnerability to hunger, acknowledging that the immortal body could succumb to starvation, he might have orchestrated a shift in his plans, capitalizing on this unforeseen weakness in Hidan's seemingly impervious form. Hidan found himself securely bound by multiple strings, each meticulously attached to an array of explosive tags. These intricate bindings suspended him just above a sizable pit, setting the stage for a decisive moment. "Let me go, you bastard!" Hidan's curses echoed incessantly, directed vehemently at Shikamaru and the others. Unfazed by the barrage of curses, Shikamaru maintained his composure and coolly issued a response, Die! With a deliberate motion, he hurled Asuma's lighter towards Hidan. Upon contact with the explosive tags, a cascade of explosions erupted. The force of the detonations propelled Hidan into the pit, leaving him fragmented into several pieces. Even with his head separated from his body, Hidan's defiance endured. He continued to unleash a torrent of curses and threats, the intensity undiminished as he directed them unwaveringly at Shikamaru. The aftermath of the explosive display had left Hidan in a state of disarray, yet his tenacity and verbal assault remained a testament to the indomitable spirit within him. In the midst of Shikamaru's action, just as he was about to unleash multiple explosive tags to trigger an explosion in the upper area of the pit, effectively sealing Hidan beneath the cascading debris, an abrupt halt occurred. Juryoku materialized right in front of Shikamaru, putting a pause to his planned maneuver. "No need to seal him, I will erase him completely," pronounced Juryoku confidently. With this declaration, he extended his left hand, and at the tip of his finger, a miniature black hole materialized. This tiny cosmic anomaly was swiftly thrown into the pit by Juryoku. Upon its appearance above Hidan's body, the miniature black hole initiated a process of systematic disintegration. Hidan's form began breaking down, gradually succumbing to the formidable forces unleashed by the miniature black hole. In a mere matter of moments, the entirety of Hidan's body was completely swallowed by the miniature black hole, resulting in the thorough erasure of his existence from the battlefield. The efficiency of Juryoku's method left a profound impact on the once defiant and immortal Hidan, reducing him to nothingness in the face of cosmic forces. For a few moments, a profound silence enveloped the space between Juryoku, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji, as the weight of recent events settled in. "I came here to eradicate the immortal duo of Akatsuki, but it seems that you all have already taken care of these two enemies." "That's good," Juryoku acknowledged with a tone reflecting approval. "Juryoku, I want to ask you something," Ino ventured. Juryoku simply nodded, intuitively grasping the question Ino was about to pose. "Why didn't you eradicate Akatsuki, even after they tried to kill you?" Ino inquired. "Because I want them to complete their aim," Juryoku responded with a measured calmness. "Aren't you an enemy of Akatsuki?" probed Ino further. "Certainly, but that doesn't mean our interests have to conflict. What they aim to achieve, in a sense, aligns with my own objectives," Juryoku elaborated, shedding light on the nuanced relationship between his opposition to Akatsuki and the convergence of their goals. "Even if it means harming ordinary ninjas," Ino remarked with a hint of concern. "What kind of statement is this, Ino?" "I mean, you are an experienced ninja, and I didn't expect to hear such a naive thought from you," Juryoku responded, shaking his head in clear disappointment at Ino's statement. Undeterred, Juryoku continued, "The ordinary ninjas that you are talking about will inevitably find themselves entangled in the harsh realities of war and political strife. I don't concern myself with their deaths, I'm no saint. My focus lies in protecting those close to me from the imminent dangers within and beyond our world." Ino persisted, stating, "But if you had destroyed the Akatsuki, then Asuma-sensei would still be alive. His death doesn't hold any significance for me. It seems you're still grappling with the grief of Asuma's loss, so it's not the right time for a meaningful conversation. After you've had time to calm down, we can talk again. Until then, take care," Juryoku declared. With incredible force and a sonic boom, he swiftly departed from the scene. "Ino, I also don't fully understand Juryoku's actions. For now, let's give ourselves some time to calm down, and we can discuss this matter after a few days," Shikamaru suggested, attempting to bring a sense of clarity to the situation. Ino simply nodded, and together with Shikamaru and Choji, she left the area. Eventually, they reunited with Naruto and his team. Subsequently, the group commenced their journey back to Konoha, carrying with them the weight of recent events and the unresolved questions lingering in their minds. Chapter 158. Finally, after an arduous journey, the group successfully reached Konoha. Although the mission was completed, there was a noticeable lack of enthusiasm among them, each individual harboring distinct reasons for their melancholy. In due course, they found themselves at the Hokage office, where, by an interesting twist of fate, Jiraiya and Tsunade were deeply engrossed in a conversation. An Umbu ninja materialized in front of Tsunade, delivering the news, "Hokage-sama, Team Shikamaru has returned from the mission." "Let them in," Tsunade instructed. Shortly thereafter, Shikamaru and his team entered the Hokage's office. "How did the mission go?" Tsunade inquired with a keen interest. Shikamaru replied, "The mission went well, and we successfully eliminated both members of Akatsuki." Tsunade, expressing her approval with a nod, commended, "You all did a commendable job." Jiraiya, positioned near the window, interjected, "We've received intel that Juryoku set out to vanquish the immortal duo of Akatsuki. Did you happen to cross paths with him?" Shikamaru, responding truthfully, stated, "Yes, we did have an encounter with him." "Then tell us about the encounter," Tsunade asked. Juryoku and Naruto had a fight, and even in the six-tail form, Naruto was defeated very easily. "For the details of the battle, you can ask Kakashi-sensei and Naruto," replied Shikamaru. After hearing Shikamaru's words, Tsunade looked in the direction of Kakashi and Naruto. They didn't hide anything and shared every detail of the battle with Juryoku. After hearing the details, both Tsunade and Jiraiya were completely shocked because they had witnessed the horror of Naruto's strength in the Four Tails form, not to mention that in the Six Tails, Naruto's strength reached a whole new level. "As I thought, the strength of Juryoku has increased even more after so many days," said Jiraiya. "By the way, did you ask Juryoku about the reason why he hasn't destroyed Akatsuki till now?" Tsunade asked Shikamaru. "He didn't say much. He just mentioned that he has his own plans. We were quite upset about the death of Asuma-sensei, so we didn't talk too much. Juryoku destroyed the body of Hidan and left on his own," said Shikamaru. "Okay, all of you must be tired after the battle. Go and rest," said Tsunade. After hearing Tsunade's words, everyone left the Hokage office. Once the office was empty, Tsunade stood up from her seat, went to the window, and sighed, "I don't understand Juryoku at all. Once, he attacked Mount Myaboku just because they stood in his way for revenge. Now, even after Akatsuki tried to kill him, he hasn't taken any action against them and has let them live until now, which is a sharp contrast to his nature. I know, but even if he doesn't take action, the actions of Akatsuki have angered all the major villages. Now, they see the Rain Village as a significant threat," said Jiraiya. "Yes, but this won't help much. It will take at least 3 to 4 months to go to war with the Rain Country. And at the pace at which Akatsuki is currently capturing the tailed beasts, I fear that it will be of no benefit to us," said Tsunade with a tense look on her face. "Don't worry, everything will be fine. After Naruto recovers, I will take him to Mount Myaboku. I think now is a good time for him to learn Sage Mode," said Jiraiya with a proud expression. He continued by saying, "And how can anything happen to Konoha as long as the most handsome and most powerful Toad Sage is alive? Ha." After comforting Tsunade, Jiraiya also left the Hokage office, and Tsunade continued to fulfill the paperwork. The pile of paperwork reached the height of almost one person. Seeing this, Tsunade really wanted to cry. In the Nara clan, at the house of the clan head, Nara Shikaku, Inoichi, and Choza were seated. In front of them were seated their successors, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji. Based on what Juryoku said to all of you, one thing can be confirmed: Juryoku is using the Akatsuki as a pawn. This pawn will help him become even stronger. It also means that once the pawn loses its value, they will no longer be able to survive," said Shikaku. "I can understand his craving to become stronger and stronger, but I think this has become his biggest obsession, which is not a good thing," said Shikamaru. "He even called Asuma-sensei trash, whose death isn't significant to him," said Ino with a sad look. "We should tell them, don't you think?" said Shikaku, looking in the direction of Inoichi. Inoichi nodded and said, "You are right, they have the right to know the truth. There is a significant reason for Juryoku to dislike Asuma, and that is..." Inoichi began revealing the real reason behind Juryoku's feelings towards Asuma's household. Chapter 159. Do you remember almost 4 years ago when Juryoku was seriously injured? Some ninjas tried to assassinate him at night in the Konoha hospital, even though the fact that Juryoku was being treated in Konoha was known to very few individuals. Among these people, Asuma was also present. The news of Juryoku being treated in Konoha was leaked to Koharu and Hamura, leading to the attempted assassination of Juryoku. So, do you know who released the news of Juryoku's presence in Konoha? Asked Inoichi. For a smart person like Shikamaru, the answer to this question was not a mystery, and he said, "You mean to say Asuma-sensei was the one who leaked the location of Juryoku?" "Correct," replied Shikaku. "But why didn't you tell us this before?" asked Ino. "Because Juryoku didn't want to hurt your feelings. He knew that if you knew about it, you would definitely resent Asuma and be sad. When we mentioned that you all should know the truth, he simply said, for him, Asuma is an ant not worth his attention, so just let him live. Besides, Asuma's life is not long, he will die in the coming few years," Shikaku explained. "Do you mean he already knew that Asuma-sensei would die in the upcoming future?" "Yes, why am I surprised? Juryoku also has the ability to see the future, so this isn't surprising," Shikamaru initially questioned, but then he remembered past events and corrected himself, providing his own answer. "Is this matter known to everyone? And are we the only ones who are unaware of this fact?" asked Choji. "No, that's not the case. This information was known by the Hokage and a few other core elite jonins. However, Juryoku is not affiliated with Konoha, so the Hokage decided not to pursue this matter any further. Even if she wanted to pursue Asuma for leaking the news about Juryoku's location, there was no basis for her to do so. After all, Juryoku was a traitor. Additionally, there was another reason. Why should Konoha lose an elite jonin for someone who is a traitor from their village? Replied Choza. After saying this, Inoichi, Shikaku, and Choza remained silent, giving Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji time to digest the news. After a few minutes, Shikaku said, "So, what do you guys think? At the very least, we know the reason why Juryoku didn't care about the death of Asuma-sensei. And of course, I am not going to hate Asuma-sensei just because he tried to plot against Juryoku. That is their conflict, and if Juryoku is my best friend, then Asuma-sensei is someone who has taught me many things and has always taken care of all three of us," said Shikamaru. "I also agree," said Ino and Choji simultaneously. Inoichi, Shikaku, and Choza felt relieved after seeing the reaction of Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji because they thought that maybe all three of them feel resentful towards Asuma, which may affect their behavior towards Kurenai. "One thing is quite concerning, and we seem to be overlooking it," remarked Inoichi. "What are you talking about?" inquired Choza, confusion evident in his expression. "Do you remember the first time Juryoku spoke to Ino about his ambitions to protect his loved ones from imminent threats, not only in this world but also from other worlds? Initially, I dismissed it, thinking he was just talking big like young people do to impress their loved ones. However, Juryoku has been dropping hints repeatedly that there is indeed a tangible danger beyond this world," explained Inoichi. "You are absolutely right. Juryoku must be aware of something unknown to the rest of us. And judging by his current strength, he doesn't seem too confident in fending off the danger from beyond our world," observed Shikaku. "It seems that this is the primary reason for Juryoku to manipulate Akatsuki as pawns," Shikamaru remarked. "Do you think we should inform Lady Hokage about this?" asked Choza. "No, there is no point in informing Hokage-sama. What are we going to say? That Juryoku is feeling this way, so we should just start preparing ourselves? Even if we say this, she will never listen to us. After all, Akatsuki has become a significant threat that cannot be ignored by the major villages, especially the major countries. They fear that someone like Hanzo will appear again in the Rain Country, so at any cost, they want to eradicate Akatsuki," replied Shikaku. After understanding everything, Shikamaru stood up and said, "I will first go and pay my condolences to Asuma-sensei. After that, we will all go to the Joken mansion where Juryoku is currently residing. We were somewhat rude towards Juryoku, so we should meet him in person and apologize to him directly. Yes, we need to talk to Juryoku in person, or else he will be angry with me," said Ino. After saying this, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji went to Asuma's grave with flowers in their hands. Chapter 160, in the Amigakure, within the tallest building where the Akatsuki members reside. Both Hidan and Kakuzu met their demise at the hands of Konoha ninjas. Hidan's immortal body was destroyed by Juryoku himself. White Zetsu informed everyone in the room. Pain accepted the fact that Hidan and Kakuzu were killed by Konoha ninjas but was concerned about Juryoku's intervention, as it was beyond their expectations. Pain asked again to confirm, "Are you sure you saw Juryoku?" "Do you think I would make such a silly mistake?" replied White Zetsu. "Until now, Juryoku has never interfered with our actions, so why now?" Obito questioned in confusion. "The reason is quite simple, actually. It seems you are forgetting that the team attacked by Hidan and Kakuzu consisted of Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji. These individuals are known to be the best friends of Juryoku," said Itachi. The reason given by Itachi seems to be accurate and the most reasonable explanation for the appearance of Juryoku," said Pain. "Itachi is correct. Now, we need to focus on the remaining three-tailed beasts," said Obito. You are correct. You and Deidara will act together to capture the three tails," said Pain. To this, Obito simply nodded. Just at this moment, the calm face of Pain suddenly transformed into a solemn and serious expression. "What happened?" Conan inquired. "Juryoku has entered Amigakure," Pain responded to Conan's question. "What?" "Juryoku has come to Amigakure," exclaimed Deidara in astonishment. What might be the reason for his arrival? Obito pondered aloud. Did he perhaps come to seek revenge for the death of Asuma, on the request of his friends? Itachi suggested. "This may not be impossible," Obito replied. Both Itachi and Obito, who had taken extreme actions driven by their emotions, shared this thought. "Okay, no need to guess by standing here. Let's just go to the balcony and see the situation from there," said Pain. After hearing Pain's words, everyone found this reasonable, so they immediately went to the balcony where the Amigakure village could be clearly seen. Upon reaching the balcony and gazing in the direction indicated by Pain, a young man in a pure black dress could be seen approaching them from that distance and direction. Despite moving through the heavy rain and mud, not a single drop of rain touched him, and more than that, he was totally clean without even a strain of mud. The boy who arrived in Amigakure was none other than Juryoku. He came to specify a few things. After entering Amigakure, Juryoku had only taken a few steps when he suddenly disappeared and reappeared in front of the tallest building where the Akatsuki members were currently located. "Teleportation," exclaimed Obito in shock. "Do you mean the body flicker technique?" Kisame asked. "Absolutely not. What I said is what I meant. Juryoku is using some kind of time-space ninjutsu to travel through space," clarified Obito. Obito's words had a profound impact on everyone present, instilling a sense of fear in each person there. Juryoku, who was already below the building, suddenly vanished from that place and reappeared in front of every Akatsuki member. Each member of Akatsuki took a few steps back, not out of fear, but primarily to prepare for battle. "What do you want, Juryoku? Why are you here in Amigakure?" asked Pain. "What are you all talking about and waiting for?" "He came here, his purpose is clear. He wants to slaughter all of us present here," said Kisame. After uttering this, he attacked Juryoku. "Foolish," said Juryoku, displaying a look of disdain toward Kisame. He raised his hand, manipulating the gravity around Kisame. Kisame felt a tremendous amount of pressure, as if he were about to be forced to kneel. Soon, the floor could not handle Kisame's weight, causing it to collapse, and Kisame fell from the highest floor to the ground basement. If it weren't for Kisame's special physique and strong strength, he would have undoubtedly died. "Has the gap in our strength become this wide?" pondered Kisame. Pain stepped forward and stood in front of Juryoku, asking, "What brings you to Amigakure?" "I came here to give you a few warnings. You can attack anyone you want, but never in your dreams attack Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji, and not only them but their parents too," replied Juryoku. If you came here to intimidate us, then I'm sorry. We do not fear death, and at most, you can kill us, nothing more than that, said Pain without an ounce of fear on his face. Do not worry, I will never kill you. But believe me, I will make your life worse than death, said Juryoku as he released his vast and powerful Conqueror's Haki. Due to the release of Conqueror's Haki, the weather underwent a complete transformation. Instead of simple rain, thunder echoed in the sky. Not only that, but the building on which Juryoku stood started shaking violently, as if it would collapse at any moment. Chapter 161, We do not fear pain, rather, we are intricately woven from the very fabric of pain, proclaimed Pain, his words carrying a profound weight. With a chuckle that seemed to dance on the edges of amusement, Juryoku remarked, I must say, your lines exhibit a certain eloquence. Perplexed, Pain inquired, What do you mean? In which village am I currently right now? Asked Juryoku. Of course, you are in Amigakure, stated Pain with an air of authority. What do you think will happen if this whole village gets destroyed? Said Juryoku with a straight face and a calm look, as if he were talking about something insignificant. Juryoku's provocative statement prompted Konan to react, her tone growing notably colder. So, you are insinuating a threat involving the annihilation of Amigakure? Her words hinted at a latent aggression, suggesting that were it not for Juryoku's formidable strength, Konan might have entertained the idea of killing him 1,000 times over. Not at all. I was just wondering how your friend, who is like a brother to you, will feel when the village for which he worked hard is being destroyed. The same village that he wanted to see prosper in this world is now getting destroyed, said Juryoku. Then, while directly facing Pain, he continued, What do you think, Nagato? He will feel immeasurable pain, correct? Nagato, who was gritting his teeth in anger as soon as he heard Juryoku calling out his real name, was shocked. Konan was also surprised after hearing this. It was not a hidden fact that Juryoku knew that Pain was just a dead body being controlled, but the person behind the control was unknown to anyone. However, Juryoku easily identified Nagato's true identity. Turning a blind eye to Konan's visibly angered expression, Juryoku purposefully positioned himself in front of Obito. With a measured tone, he uttered, Uchiha Madara, you are someone who has no family to call your own, so you don't have much to worry about. I was just wondering, what would happen if, by chance, Noera Lin were to be resurrected and saw you like this? What would she think? Anyway, she loved Kakashi, but once she learns about your deeds, I swear she will immediately feel disgust towards you. In a way, Lin's choice of Kakashi will be proven to be absolutely correct. Shut up! Obito exclaimed, anger clearly audible in his tone. Oh, I'm so scared, Juryoku mocked. Then, he continued moving and stood in front of Itachi. You are a fearless person, so I won't indulge in much nonsense with you. If anything happens to people related to me, I will eliminate even the last seedling of your family, the same seedling for which you slaughtered your own clan, warned Juryoku. Itachi's face remained calm, but inside his mind and heart, emotions raced at a rapid pace. The sentence made it evident that Juryoku had his eyes on Sasuke, and any impulsive move from Itachi could lead to his brother's suffering. Although Itachi's face was calm, a murderous intent was brewing in his heart because Sasuke is his reverse scale. Itachi was already contemplating ways to kill Juryoku, but sometimes any calculation is weak against vast disparities in strength. For now, Itachi can hardly find any way to eliminate Juryoku. How can the killing intent of Itachi be hidden from Juryoku's observation haki? He immediately sensed the killing intent emanating from Itachi but chose to ignore it. Juryoku then confronted Deidara and declared, You are a lunatic and an unstable factor. I am thinking of killing you. Juryoku addressed Obito, Nagato, and Itachi, saying, What are your thoughts on my proposal? Just carry out your tasks quietly, and I won't bother with any of you. Nagato responded, Do you think we're easy to bully? Is there even a doubt? Of course, yes, replied Juryoku with a smile. He was merely teasing and playing with them. Training for almost every day over the past 6 months had left him quite bored and mentally tired. To lighten up his mood, he decided to employ sarcasm and humor. Ignoring Juryoku's joking behavior, Nagato questioned, "Do you dare to face us outside Amigakure?" "Why not? For the past 6 months, I have been continuously training. Let's go. I will have a few sparring partners to stretch my muscles and body, and you will also witness my strength," said Juryoku. After saying this, Juryoku snapped his fingers twice towards Deidara and said, "Go and order the best food in Amigakure." "Bastard! I'm not your errand boy," said Deidara with anger in his tone. Juryoku controlled gravity, pulling Deidara towards him and held him by the neck, saying, "You better be my errand boy today, and I will spare your life. If not, you have already seen my strength 7 months ago, you were no match for me then, not to mention now. Got that? So, if you value your life, keep the food ready before I come after stretching my muscles." Chapter 162, Juryoku flew at the forefront, with Pain trailing behind him. Obito and Itachi sprinted on the ground since they lacked any flying abilities. Konan lagged far behind as she carried Nagato. Kisame was absent because he had been knocked out by Juryoku's previous attack. After covering a considerable distance, Juryoku, Pain, Obito, and Itachi came to a halt. Konan positioned Nagato at a safe distance from the battlefield to shield him from the battle's aftermath. She then crafted a paper clone of herself and placed it beside Nagato. Utilizing the summoning beast of Animal Path, which carried the other paths of Pain, Konan flew towards Juryoku, who was patiently awaiting the impending battle. Although the entire process appeared lengthy, the time taken to execute it was remarkably short. Consequently, just a few seconds later, Konan arrived on the battlefield. On the battlefield, all 6 paths of Pain were now assembled. "You didn't bother to hide Nagato this time?" inquired Juryoku, an amused expression on his face. "Why bother? You already know so much about us, not to mention your sensory abilities are so powerful that hiding from you is meaningless," replied Pain. "That, too, is correct," acknowledged Juryoku with a nod. Despite Juryoku standing here calmly without a hint of worry on his face, the same couldn't be said for his adversaries. Each of them had a clear objective today, to give their all and go all out to kill Juryoku. The reason being, if Juryoku were to remain alive, there was a high likelihood that he would carry out all the plans he had spoken of. All the threats that Juryoku issued to them contained their respective reverse scale. Due to this reason, even Konan, who typically refrains from participating in major battles and usually assumes the role of protecting Nagato, is now actively engaged in the fight. The one to initiate the battle was the Azura Path, utilizing the flaming arrow warhead to release multiple missiles in Juryoku's direction. "Child's play," remarked Juryoku with disdain. He casually swung his hand, as if shooing away a fly, causing all the small missiles approaching him to detonate midair, not even reaching a distance of 10 feet from Juryoku. Observing the small missiles getting destroyed midway didn't surprise anyone present because they expected nothing less from someone currently considered the strongest person on the planet. Upon finishing dealing with these missiles, Juryoku found himself facing Obito, who emerged from the ground like a phantom ghost, gripping a kunai. Obito had appeared using Kamui, and without hesitation, he thrust the kunai toward Juryoku. Juryoku, displaying impressive reflexes, swiftly turned around and delivered a punch to Obito. However, Obito immediately utilized Kamui, causing Juryoku's punch to pass through his body. Itachi, who had been patiently waiting for Juryoku to be distracted, employed Earth Release, moving Earth Core. A square section of the ground rose beneath Juryoku's feet. Juryoku was currently elevated to a considerable height through Itachi's use of the Earth Section Release. Recognizing this as a prime opportunity, Konan seized the moment and crafted multiple paper birds, releasing them in Juryoku's direction. These were no ordinary birds, they were predominantly composed of explosive tags. As soon as they neared Juryoku, the paper birds erupted with a resounding and explosive boom. If an ordinary ninja were in Juryoku's place, this attack would have proven fatal, shattering their body into pieces. However, Juryoku swiftly countered by creating a robust purple gravity barrier, shielding himself within. Positioned atop the elevated earth platform with immense strength, he tapped the platform with his leg. The moment his attack connected, the earth platform disintegrated instantly, and Juryoku landed with remarkable calmness. Just as Juryoku landed on the ground, Itachi, utilizing the body flicker technique, appeared beside him and launched an attack with a kunai. In response, Juryoku unsheathed his sword and swiftly slashed at Itachi. Without a doubt, the kunai that Itachi was holding was cleanly cut in half, and Itachi himself was struck by Juryoku's sword. However, as soon as Itachi was hit, he dispersed into multiple black crows. Crow Clone Jutsu. Juryoku recognized this particular move of Itachi. Meanwhile, Obito, who had positioned himself behind Juryoku, launched an attack with a kunai. Juryoku, unwilling to be struck by this assault, employed gravity push. A tremendous gravity repulsion emanated from Juryoku at the center, but Obito, being a cunning individual, anticipated the attack. Before the gravity repulsion could reach him, he swiftly employed Kamui to evade it. Obito, already in close proximity to Juryoku, wore a smile behind his mask. He murmured, "I was waiting for him to make this move because you can't execute this move in continuous succession, or to be precise, you will not use this in successions, and I will have a window of a fraction of a second, but that is more than enough for me." Following this declaration, Obito directed his attack towards Juryoku's neck, attempting to kill him in one swift motion. However, as soon as his kunai approached within 1 centimeter of Juryoku's neck, it encountered an unexpected resistance, as if the kunai had entered an invisible barrier. Chapter 163, Obito, who had been actively assaulting Juryoku, finally noticed a subtle detail, a delicate film enveloping Juryoku's entire body. Obito's observation was accurate. This thin film turned out to be a concentrated gravity field, serving as Juryoku's protective armor. In response to the close-range attack, Juryoku swiftly retaliated, employing the gravity push technique. The rapidity of Juryoku's counter caught Obito off guard, making it impossible for him to evade the forceful gravity push assault. Consequently, Obito was flung backward, resembling a mere rag doll. As Juryoku prepared to resume his offensive against Obito, a series of explosions erupted beneath him. Upon investigation, Juryoku promptly identified the source of these blasts, realizing that Konan was the mastermind behind this subterranean onslaught. While Juryoku was engrossed in his confrontation with Obito, Konan seized the opportunity and manipulated numerous explosive tags, strategically placing them beneath Juryoku's legs. Although she had the option to use the explosive tags to ascend Juryoku's body and affix them directly to him, she refrained from doing so. This decision wasn't rooted in empathy but in Konan's awareness of Juryoku's exceptional speed and heightened sensitivity to his surroundings. She understood that if the explosive tags began advancing on Juryoku, he would undoubtedly evade them with his rapid agility. Konan presently extracted all the accumulated explosive tags, deftly controlling them as they honed in on Juryoku's location. "This woman is genuinely perilous," Obito muttered to himself. Although Obito was fearful, he knew that the chance created by Konan was a rare one. Not only he, but Nagato and Itachi were also aware of this opportunity, and they were not going to waste it. Somehow, they had to keep Juryoku in the same place where he was currently standing. They all knew that this was very challenging, but they had to give their best. The Deva path ascended into the air, keeping a vigilant eye on Juryoku to prevent him from escaping by flying. On the other side, Itachi was also prepared with his Susanoo at the ready. Meanwhile, Juryoku, currently bombarded by numerous blasts of explosive tags, felt uncomfortable due to the superimposed effect of the explosions. Without wasting time, he started floating in the air. However, the Deva path, already prepared, immediately utilized Almighty Push on Juryoku, restraining his flight. Itachi knew that with this amount of force, Pain would not be able to restrain Juryoku in one place, and eventually, Juryoku would escape. So, he drew his sword of Totsuka and swung it in a straight arc towards Juryoku. Juryoku also sensed Itachi's impending attack coming in his direction. Due to the superimposed effect of the continuous explosions from the explosive tags, the gravity barrier and gravity film around him were already highly unstable. If he were to be struck by this attack, his gravity barrier and gravity film would undoubtedly shatter, exposing him to the direct impact of the explosive tag's explosions. Juryoku concentrated gravity onto his sword and swung it in the direction of Itachi's attack, launching a hasty counterattack. Despite the impromptu nature of Juryoku's response, a colossal black sword slash was unleashed from Juryoku's weapon. This slash collided with the incoming attack from Itachi's sword. As expected, Itachi's attack was effortlessly nullified by Juryoku's decisive move. Although Juryoku's action seemed merely a simple attack, it proved potent enough to counter the formidable assault of Susanoo. "Ha! The strength displayed is truly enviable," exclaimed Obito, exhaling deeply. Envy was inevitable, but Obito also had to retaliate. He immediately utilized Kamui to vanish from his current position and reappeared beside the animal path. "Lend me your bird," Obito requested. Upon Obito's request, the animal path nodded and promptly provided a bird for Obito to control. Guiding the bird, Obito ascended into the midair, positioning himself just above the location where Juryoku was ensnared. Upon reaching his desired spot, Obito released numerous large iron poles downwards in Juryoku's direction. Confronted once again by Obito's onslaught, Juryoku abandoned his plan to escape the blast's range. Instead, he obediently counterattacked against the imminent barrage. In a blur of speed, Juryoku executed numerous slashes with his sword. Only Obito and Itachi, both possessing the Mangekyo Sharingan, were able to perceive Juryoku's swift movements. All the iron poles released from Obito's Kamui space were deflected by the numerous sword slashes executed by Juryoku, which he had just unleashed. Following their deflection by Juryoku's attacks, these iron poles cascaded down to the ground. The speed at which these poles descended was already considerable, given their release from Obito's Kamui space. Once the rain of iron poles concluded, a small forest of metallic stakes emerged. Juryoku, besieged from all directions, found himself with no opportunity to escape. Meanwhile, Konan, who was actively manipulating explosive tags to assault Juryoku, hadn't paused for a second. It seemed as if she possessed an endless supply of these explosive tags. The relentless barrage resulted in the continuous destruction of many sections of Juryoku's gravity barrier, which Juryoku had repaired continuously. Chapter 164. "You all have forced me to this extent," said Juryoku with a touch of weariness evident in his tone. "Today, we will not allow you to leave here alive," declared the Deva Path with a resolute gaze. "Humph. You all are simply delusional if you think that I am using my full strength," scoffed Juryoku, a hint of disdain coloring his words. "We know that you are not using your full strength, but we will also never allow you to use your full strength," asserted Obito with unwavering determination. "Is that so?" said Juryoku with a mocking sneer on his face, his eyes gleaming with confidence. "Humph." Juryoku gave a cold snort. As soon as the cold snort of Juryoku fell, his nails turned black and sharper, his skin became paler, almost white, and his hair turned an ethereal white. Additionally, two ominous horns started protruding from his forehead, and two majestic wings unfurled from his back, signifying a transformation beyond the ordinary. "What the?" exclaimed Obito in shock, his eyes widening at the unexpected change. "Is this also Sage Mode?" questioned Itachi, trying to make sense of the surreal transformation. "This doesn't seem like Sage Mode, but more like as if some demon has descended," remarked Konan, a sense of awe mingled with apprehension in her voice. "Do not get distracted, his strength seems to be getting stronger. We need to increase our efforts to hold him down," advised Nagato sagely. As soon as Juryoku went into his demonic form, Nagato keenly perceived that Juryoku's strength had undergone a dramatic surge. If Nagato could feel it, all the other people present were able to sense it too. Juryoku's face was now an icy mask of determination, and a colossal amount of pure black chakra radiated from him. Before, the color was a serene sky blue, but now, after integrating the template of Lucifero, the color of his chakra had transmuted into an ominous pure black. Juryoku raised his hand and said with indifference, "Get down." As soon as Juryoku's command fell, Obito, who was soaring on the summoned bird of the animal path, descended forcefully to the ground with the bird. All the paths of pain standing around Juryoku also crumbled, and not only Konan but Itachi, ensconced within the protective Susanoo, felt the unsettling effects of the newfound gravitational force. The force of gravity around them was so overpowering that none of them could maintain their stance. Obito swiftly utilized Kamui and managed to escape the relentless suppression of gravity. The Deva path erected a barrier of gravity, barely resisting the formidable gravitational pull emanating from Juryoku. Itachi, safely nestled inside the Susanoo, observed as cracks began to snake across its form, exerting immense pressure on his Mangekyo Sharingan to uphold the Susanoo. Meanwhile, Konan ingeniously made her entire body as light as paper. Though she skillfully dodged the damage inflicted by the intensified gravitational force, she found herself adhered to the ground, akin to being ensnared by an invisible glue. Obito wore a solemn expression. Such a colossal disparity in strength. I don't think even Madara would be able to contend with this Juryoku. Feeling the overwhelming might of Juryoku, everyone present experienced a profound sense of humiliation. To be honest, to overcome this predicament, I didn't necessarily need to assume my demonic form. I could have easily defeated all of you. However, I haven't deployed my demonic form in battle since awakening it, so I deemed you all as excellent training targets, explained Juryoku with a calculating expression on his face. After making this revelation, he harnessed the power of Black Hole and unleashed it upon the ground. The moment this black hole made contact with the earth, a radius of 10 meters vanished, leaving behind a colossal crater. Not only did the ground in this vicinity crumble, but all the explosive tags within this range were obliterated, vanishing from the mortal realm. However potent he may be, I will never allow him to leave alive after what he said, declared Nagato with a steely resolve. After Nagato expressed his determination, the Deva path swiftly executed a hand sign and invoked the summoning technique. With the manifestation of the Gedo statue, a deafening roar reverberated through the battlefield. Now, with the Gedo statue present, Nagato could unleash a few techniques exclusive to this formidable summon. Nagato, Konan began with a furrowed brow, if you decide to employ the techniques from the formidable Gedo statue, you risk further weakening yourself. The Gedo statue has the capability to drain your life force at an even more accelerated pace. She spoke, her eyes reflecting genuine concern. Nagato, resolute, responded through the Deva path, you don't need to persuade me, I'm well aware of the consequences. This undertaking is crucial for all of us. We must eliminate him at any cost, or else the prospect of peaceful living will elude us indefinitely. Konan found herself at a loss, grappling with how to counter this compelling argument. She opted for silence, unsure of how to articulate any dissenting views. Chapter 165. After saying that Nagato had control over the Gedo statue, a phantom dragon emerged from its gaping maw, launching a relentless assault on Juryoku. The peculiar aspect of the situation was that, despite the ferocity of the attack, Juryoku found himself unable to discern the dragon's movements. Only the looming sense of danger alerted him to the impending threat. It was under these circumstances that Juryoku realized his only recourse was to open his eyes, otherwise, he would remain oblivious to the phantom dragon unleashed by the Gedo statue. The stakes were high, and Juryoku, acknowledging the risk, understood that he had no option but to confront the phantom dragon directly. Even with a substantial reservoir of chakra at his disposal, Juryoku comprehended that the sheer force of the phantom dragon could not be underestimated. His chakra, despite its abundance, wouldn't shield him completely from the potential aftermath of a direct hit. The gravity of the situation was clear, Juryoku couldn't afford to take any chances. Having made the decision to open his eyes, Juryoku promptly revealed his striking sky-blue eyes adorned with a translucent white flower pattern. This action proved to be a pivotal moment, as it not only granted him sight of the phantom dragon but also allowed him to discern the ominous death lines etched onto the creature. The added details highlighted the intensity of the encounter and emphasized the critical nature of Juryoku's decision. Without any hesitation, Juryoku swiftly severed the death line on the phantom dragon. The decisive act took no more than a second, resulting in the complete destruction and disappearance of the once threatening phantom dragon. Although Nagato's attack failed to cause any substantial damage to Juryoku, a silver lining emerged. The gravity suppression, previously rendering everyone present utterly powerless, was lifted, freeing them from the stifling influence of Juryoku's abilities just seconds earlier. Nagato, initially taken aback by the sudden demise of the phantom dragon, quickly recalled the special abilities deduced from gathered information. It became apparent that Juryoku's eyes possessed the terrifying power to obliterate anything in their gaze. Despite the intimidating nature of this ability, the group understood the urgency to persevere. Seizing the moment, Itachi, positioned on the sidelines, invoked Amaterasu. Instantaneously, a torrent of black flames engulfed Juryoku's body. Remarkably unperturbed by the intense blaze, Juryoku showed no fear. His confidence stemmed from the knowledge that Amaterasu could never touch his body. Furthermore, even if it could, the protective shield of his tissue regeneration magic ensured he would emerge unscathed. A careful observer would note the infinitesimally thin gap between the Amaterasu and Juryoku's impervious form. "Like a persistent fly, you've been buzzing around me," remarked Juryoku, his gaze fixed in Itachi's direction. After delivering those words, he deftly unsheathed his sword with astonishing speed, launching a swift attack on Itachi. The Dimension Slash was unleashed, and Itachi's Susanoo was cleaved in half horizontally before he could react. The seemingly straightforward victory, however, turned out to be more complex. Itachi's body, now severed in two, transformed into a swarm of crows, scattering in various directions. Crow clone technique, Juryoku identified, acknowledging the technique employed by Itachi. Impressed, Juryoku continued, "I must commend your genius. With just the crow clone, you managed to sustain the Susanoo for a fleeting moment. Although the time was brief, the ability to handle the intense pressure required to maintain the Susanoo is no small accomplishment." As he spoke, Juryoku shifted his gaze towards the Deva path, and Itachi promptly reappeared beside it, emphasizing the seamless transition of events. Itachi humbly remarked, "My talent and intelligence are nothing compared to yours." Juryoku, though silent, conveyed his agreement through a taciturn nod, further emphasizing the weight of Itachi's statement. After uttering these words, Itachi invoked Deva Path and suggested, "You should employ the same sealing technique that we used to capture the tailed beasts. With the combined strength of all of us, including the top presence here, we should be able to perform that sealing jutsu, don't you think?" Deva Path nodded thoughtfully and responded, "Although it will be a challenging endeavor, considering the individuals gathered here, we might just be able to pull off that intricate trick." While Itachi was deeply engrossed in discussion with Deva Path, Konan and Obito swiftly joined them, positioning themselves beside Nagato. Following their arrival, Itachi meticulously briefed them on the intricate details of the plan. Understanding the gravity of the situation, they collectively decided to proceed with the plan, recognizing that their dwindling options left them with little choice. "Hey, all of you, it seems like you're discussing matters as if I don't exist. Let's move swiftly and execute the plan as soon as possible," Juryoku implored, the impatience in his tone underscoring the urgency of their predicament. After Juryoku's voice fell, all four of them wasted no time and immediately employed the sealing technique, Phantom Dragon's 9 consuming seals. 9 dragons, formed of chakra, emerged from the mouth of the Gedo statue and assailed Juryoku from various directions. "Naive, do you think the same kind of move will work against me?" Juryoku scoffed. Following his remark, he swiftly replicated his earlier feat, destroying the phantom dragons unleashed by the Gedo statue by slashing at the line of death in these ethereal creatures, much like he had done before with the phantom dragon. Chapter 166, Damn it, can he even destroy the sealing phantom dragons? Konan exclaimed, frustration evident in her voice as she observed the unfolding battle. It shouldn't be that much of a surprise. I thought that maybe these sealing phantom dragons would be able to harm Juryoku. These phantom dragons won't be destroyed by Juryoku, but it seems that I was thinking too simply, Itachi explained, his eyes narrowing as he analyzed the situation. "We can't give up just yet, we need to continue trying," urged the Deva Path. With determination in its eyes, the Deva Path swiftly executed its plan. It unleashed the demonic statue chains, strategically attacking Juryoku from multiple directions, aiming to exploit any weaknesses in the formidable opponent's defenses. And Juryoku also didn't act foolishly. He refrained from relying solely on a gravity barrier for defense because he knew, with certainty, that these demonic statue chains possessed formidable power that a mere gravity barrier couldn't withstand. However, this challenge wasn't insurmountable for Juryoku in destroying the demonic statue chains. Just as he had discerned the line of death in the phantom dragon, Juryoku demonstrated a keen eye, identifying the same vulnerability in these demonic statue chains. With remarkable speed and agile movements, he systematically dismantled the chains one by one. The precision of his strikes, focusing on the identified line of death, allowed him to effortlessly neutralize the threat posed by the demonic statue chains. Juryoku, bathed in the aftermath of the annihilated demonic statue chains, turned his gaze toward Nagato and the others. With a confident tone, he remarked, "It seems you've exhausted every effort, yet none of it could pose a threat to me. Now, let's bring an end to this futile conflict." Positioning himself before the imposing Gedo statue, Juryoku refrained from assaulting the Deva Path and the others. Instead, his discerning eyes identified two ominous lines of death etched upon the colossal structure. Swiftly unsheathing his sword, he honed in on one of the lethal lines and executed a precise cut. As anticipated, the Gedo statue commenced its demise, disintegrating from the exact point where Juryoku severed the line of death with his razor-sharp blade. The unfolding spectacle left Obito in a state of horror, his voice echoing a desperate cry, and oh. For Obito, anything can happen, but the Gedo statue can never be destroyed because it is the key to his elaborate plan. Obito was not the only one affected. There was another person even more heartbroken than Obito, and that person was none other than Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu had meticulously orchestrated this plan for almost 1,000 years with the sole purpose of resurrecting his mother, weaving a complex web of manipulation and deception. Now, if the statue is destroyed, his mother will never be unsealed, and the carefully laid groundwork for a resurrection will crumble. Nagato and Konan, while also experiencing sadness and despair, couldn't match the profound emotional turmoil faced by Obito and Black Zetsu. Itachi, although outwardly expressionless, harbored a sense of satisfaction at witnessing the destruction of the Gedo statue. He understood the immense power held by the statue, and the potential consequences if it were to fall into the hands of a single individual. Aware of the catastrophic implications, Itachi found solace in the fact that this potent force was now rendered inert. It won't get destroyed, right? Thought Juryoku. The primary reason Juryoku launched an assault on the Gedo statue was his awareness of its substantial vitality. With the objective of testing the statue's resilience, he aimed to determine if it could be destroyed. However, a nagging intuition lingered in his heart, suggesting that the Gedo statue was impervious to destruction. This conviction stemmed from the fact that if Asura could regenerate himself following Juryoku's onslaughts, the Gedo statue, endowed with vitality far surpassing Asura's, must possess the capacity for effortless self-healing. True to Juryoku's expectations, the Gedo statue did not disappoint. His meticulous calculations bore fruit, and the Gedo statue, on the brink of destruction, initiated a rapid healing process. Astonishingly, it swiftly reverted to its pristine state, devoid of any discernible damage. The flawless recovery underscored the indestructible nature of the Gedo statue, leading Juryoku to marvel at its resilience. Obito, Nagato, and Konan collectively breathed sighs of relief, sharing a momentary respite. Juryoku, too, felt a sense of relief, understanding the pivotal nature of the Gedo statue to his mission. After all, his objective was to eliminate Kage, and the intact Gedo statue played a crucial role in achieving that goal. If it were to be destroyed, a significant hurdle to the mission's success would arise. Finally, seizing the moment, Juryoku spoke, "Now that each of you has given your best effort, is there anything else you wish to attempt? If not, then proceed with your designated tasks, capturing the tail beasts. Be mindful of the boundaries to cross and those to respect. With a sense of tranquility, continue the process of resurrecting the 10 tails." Chapter 167, you want to use the 10 tails for yourself, right? We will all work hard to resurrect the 10 tails, and when the 10 tails is resurrected, then you will take away the 10 tails. Am I right? Said Itachi, his piercing gaze fixed on Juryoku. Yes, is there any problem? Replied Juryoku, maintaining a calm and collected demeanor. What if we don't try to resurrect the 10 tails? Interjected Devapath. Juryoku chuckled slightly before responding, you all have no option, because the aim of your life is based on the 10 tails, so you will work hard to resurrect the 10 tails. And I don't get what is the problem to work for me. I mean, in the end, each and every one of you present here are working for someone else. At the end of the day, I only want to say, work hard, maybe you all may find a method to restrain me, continued Juryoku, his voice resonating with a mix of confidence and a hint of amusement. He glanced around at the assembled group, his eyes locking with each member as if daring them to challenge his perspective. As he concluded his statement, Juryoku spread his wings and ascended into the air, the wind rustling his cloak. The silhouette of his departure lingered for a moment before disappearing into the distance. The remaining Akatsuki members exchanged uncertain glances, grappling with the weight of Juryoku's words and the enigma that now soared above them. After Juryoku left, Devapath spoke up, breaking the silence that lingered in the wake of their encounter. What are we going to do now? What else can we do? As he said, our whole life goal depends on the resurrection of the 10 tails, and we can't just give up, asserted Obito, his tone resolute. Didn't you see his strength? I think he barely used 30% to 40% of his true power. How are we even going to compare to Juryoku, expressed Konan, her concern evident in the furrowed lines on her forehead. You think too simply. You may be thinking that the 10 tails is around, at most, 10 times or 50 times stronger than the tailed beasts, but you are terribly wrong. The 10 tails is immensely powerful. To the 10 tails, other tailed beasts are like bugs, easily defeated with a flick of its finger. So, you can imagine just how formidable the 10 tails is. Juryoku is overconfident in his strength, and we can take advantage of this fact. We can resurrect the 10 tails, and at that time, we can use that same 10 tails to defeat Juryoku, explained Obito, his words carrying a thoughtful weight, though his expression remained hidden behind his mask. Yes, you are right. Juryoku's overconfidence will be the reason for his downfall, affirmed Devapath, a subtle determination in his voice. Even if Juryoku were present at this moment, he would likely dismiss their plan with a laugh, indifferent to their schemes. Okay, first, let's return to Amigakure, and then we will plan further, declared Devapath, the urgency evident in his command. You go ahead, I will come, said Obito, his tone carrying a hint of secrecy. Devapath and Konan nodded in agreement and made their way towards Amigakure. On the other hand, Itachi lingered for a moment, studying Obito's demeanor for any subtle clues. Finding nothing, Itachi eventually turned and left, leaving Obito alone with his thoughts in the aftermath of their encounter with Juryoku. After everyone left, Black Zetsu appeared beside Obito and said, "What are you going to do now, Obito?" "Do not." Obito, out of habit, wanted to refute Black Zetsu for calling him by his real name, but now that everyone knows his true identity, there is no point in denying this fact. So, with a resigned sigh, he said, "Whatever. I never expected such a variable to appear. If I knew this, then I would have killed him long ago when he didn't even grow up," expressed Obito in a regretful tone. "There is nothing we can do about what has already happened. Now, we need to think about the future," advised Black Zetsu. "Do you have any kind of plan?" "Because currently, I can't think of anything," said Obito, a sense of uncertainty tainting his words as he contemplated the unpredictable turns that their situation had taken. "I think we must resurrect Madara-sama through the Edo Tensei. With the strength of Madara-sama, he may be able to restrain Juryoku, and then everything will happen according to the plan," suggested Black Zetsu, his voice carrying a note of conviction. "No, we can't resurrect Uchiha Madara like this. I will think of some other way. Let's discuss with Nagato and see if he has made some plan," declared Obito, his determination evident as he contemplated alternative strategies. After Obito left, Black Zetsu pondered, it seems that I can no longer rely on Akatsuki or Obito. I need to find a way to resurrect Uchiha Madara. Only then will I be able to resurrect my mother. Chapter 168, Obito, caught unaware of Black Zetsu's elaborate plan, promptly made his way back to Amigakure. Upon his arrival, a pleasant surprise awaited him. Both Deidara and Kisame were not only alive but also in excellent condition. Obito's satisfaction stemmed not from personal concern for them, but rather from the recognition that their continued existence held significant value. In his strategic mind, they could be harnessed in various ways to further his overarching plan. As Obito retraced his steps, it became evident that Juryoku had already vacated Amigakure. Juryoku didn't waste any more time there and left Amigakure. It took nearly a full day for the Akatsuki to digest and fully process the unfolding events. After this considerable period of reflection, the members convened for an official Akatsuki meeting to deliberate on the recent occurrences. A notable departure from the usual protocol occurred as Obito, rather than Nagato, assumed the role of the first speaker. Traditionally, Nagato took the lead in initiating discussions as the acknowledged leader of the Akatsuki. Obito articulated, in the aftermath of our intense encounter with Juryoku, we now possess a deeper understanding of the formidable power he wields. At this juncture, we find ourselves confronted with only two conceivable options. The first entails acknowledging defeat and opting to disband the Akatsuki. The second alternative involves steadfastly adhering to our original plan, which revolves around the resurrection of the Ten Tails. By harnessing the immense power of the Ten Tails, we aim to confront and overcome the formidable adversary that is Juryoku. Kisame, with unwavering determination, emphatically stated, it is absolutely inconceivable for us to entertain the thought of giving up, especially considering the arduous journey we've undertaken in our relentless pursuit to resurrect the Ten Tails. To abandon our cause now, when we find ourselves on the cusp of achieving our ultimate goal, is simply unthinkable. Expressing a valid concern, the Deva Path deliberated. However, if we choose to forge ahead, there looms a substantial risk that Juryoku might cunningly snatch the Ten Tails away from our grasp. Effectively, we could find ourselves inadvertently crafting a metaphorical wedding dress for others. Nonetheless, I do acknowledge that, having traversed this formidable distance, surrendering is a notion we cannot entertain. Obito, filled with a strong desire to engage in strategic planning, inquired with enthusiasm, have any potential plans, brimming with creativity and ingenuity, crossed your minds? The Deva Path responded with careful consideration, yes, indeed. Our immediate focus should primarily revolve around the meticulous and well-thought-out endeavor of capturing the Eight Tails. Once we successfully achieve this crucial step, we can seamlessly redirect our collective efforts towards the execution of a comprehensive and intricately designed strategy. This strategy, in turn, will involve a calculated assault on Konoha, followed by the subsequent capture of the formidable Nine Tails. Capturing the Eight Tails may not pose insurmountable challenges, and if our dedication to this endeavor is unwavering, we can accomplish it with relative ease. However, the real complexity arises in the capture of the Nine Tails. Even if Juryoku verbally asserts that he won't take any retaliatory action unless we interfere with his friends and his girlfriend, there remains an inherent uncertainty. Who can provide a guarantee that he will not launch an attack on us? After all, Konoha is an integral part of the Fire Country, and given his position as the most powerful individual under the Joken, it becomes his solemn obligation to safeguard the well-being of the people residing in Konoha, expressed Konan, articulating her concerns with thoughtful deliberation. Following Konan's statement, a palpable silence descended upon the room, each occupant grappling with the undeniable knowledge of Juryoku's mercurial temperament. The collective awareness of his unpredictability instilled a sense of hesitancy, rendering the gathered individuals unable to move forward with confidence, as the uncertainty surrounding Juryoku's next move lingered like an unresolved puzzle. After a brief but intense period of contemplation, a comprehensive plan began to crystallize in Obito's mind. Rising from his seat, he directed his attention to Nagato with a composed determination. Nagato, I propose that you collaborate with Kisame and Deidara to embark on the mission of capturing the Eight Tails. Meanwhile, I believe I have devised a strategic approach to extract the chakra of the Nine Tails. Inquisitive, Conan interjected, could you shed some light on how you plan to acquire the Nine Tails chakra? With a measured air of assurance, Obito replied, you need not worry, I possess my own method for this undertaking. Preferring not to delve into further details, he left the meeting room, his departure marking the initiation of his purposeful pursuit and leaving his companions in anticipation of the unfolding events. Very well, then. We will proceed with this plan. Firstly, we'll seal all the remaining, as yet unsealed, tailed beasts. Following that, we will capture the 8 tails and seal it in one decisive move, declared the Devapath. Everyone nodded in agreement. Subsequently, with the conclusion of Devapath's words, the meeting reached its end, and all attendees departed from the meeting room. Upon arriving at Nagato's residence, Conan positioned herself in front of Nagato, expressing her concerns. Nagato, I'm apprehensive about undertaking this mission. I have a foreboding sense that something unfortunate may occur. Nagato, upon hearing Conan's apprehensions, shook his head and responded, what worse fate could befall us? Apart from Juryoku, no one poses a threat to us. Capturing the 8 tails shouldn't present significant challenges. There's no need for you to worry. Chapter 169, I have complete confidence in your abilities, and I firmly believe that capturing the 8 tails is well within your capabilities. However, it's crucial for you to remain vigilant against Obito. I harbor no trust in him whatsoever, said Conan, expressing her concerns. I am fully aware of his untrustworthiness and acknowledge his strength, but that doesn't automatically make him superior to me. Moreover, with the invaluable support you provide, he will not even dare to contemplate any action against us, stated Nagato, emphasizing the importance of their alliance. Following this statement, he was seized by a fit of violent coughing, underscoring the toll that recent events had taken on his health. In a swift response, Conan immediately offered her unwavering support to Nagato and inquired, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine, it's just that during the intense battle with Juryoku, I exerted myself excessively, and this is the aftermath of that, Nagato explained, his tone reflecting a sense of resilience. Concern etched on her face, Conan responded, you're not well. I'll go and personally inform Obito that you won't be able to proceed to Kumogakure. It's imperative for you to recognize that you are currently grappling with injuries, and in your vulnerable state, Obito may attempt to exploit it, putting your life at significant risk, she earnestly advised Nagato, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. There's no need for such actions, and please don't worry. I assure you, I'll be fine. It's not as if I'm immediately heading to Kumogakure. We have a comfortable buffer of a few weeks before we're required to set out on the mission to capture the 8 tails, Nagato calmly communicated. Conan, perceptive of Nagato's determination, understood that convincing him otherwise would be futile. His mind was set on the journey to Kumogakure, and she recognized the futility of attempting to alter his resolute decision at this point. In a dimly lit room, Obito stood contemplatively, his gaze fixed upon the rain-soaked streets of Amagakure visible through the window. At this very moment, Black Zetsu materialized quietly behind him, blending into the shadows. Why do you plan to send Nagato to Kumogakure? Weren't you reserving his formidable attack for Konoha? Inquired Black Zetsu, his voice low and filled with curiosity. Obito, still facing the window, responded, this is the most strategic move I can think of at the present moment. After Obito's explanation, Black Zetsu remained silent, allowing Obito the opportunity to elaborate further on his plan. Nagato is presently in a weakened state, having expended a considerable amount of vitality during the recent confrontation with Juryoku. Simultaneously, the strength of Konoha has reached its pinnacle, and it's worth noting that our investigations reveal Naruto's mastery of the Four Tails version of the Nine Tails. Moreover, the lingering threat of Juryoku persists, given his affiliation with the Fire Country, elaborated Obito, his tone calculated. In light of this, are you contemplating a decisive course of action against Nagato? Inquired Black Zetsu, seeking further clarification. Yes, responded Obito, his conviction evident in his succinct affirmation. How do you plan to achieve it, especially considering Juryoku's considerable power? Can you share the specifics of your strategy? Inquired Black Zetsu, expressing a desire for more detailed information. Obito maintained his air of mystery, responding, "You will become acquainted with the plan in due time," a mysterious look lingering on his face beneath the cover of his mask. "If our meeting isn't primarily about discussing forthcoming plans, then why precisely did you summon me here?" questioned Black Zetsu, with a clear tone of displeasure coloring his words. Obito revealed the purpose, stating, "I called upon you because I have a task for you." If my memory serves correctly, Orochimaru had an assistant, am I right? He inquired, seeking confirmation. Yes, Kabuto, the very same. He also served under Sasori for a considerable period. Why the interest in him? Inquired Black Zetsu, seeking clarification. Obito then issued a directive, locate Kabuto, find out where he is currently situated. His presence holds significant importance for my upcoming maneuvers. Why? Press Black Zetsu for more information. Just find him, all will be revealed once he's located, Obito responded, his words carrying an air of mystery. Recognizing Obito's reluctance to divulge immediate details, Black Zetsu understood that probing further at this moment would be futile. Therefore, he assured, rest assured, I will make every effort to locate him as swiftly as possible. Obito nodded in agreement, and Black Zetsu quietly exited the room. Following Black Zetsu's departure, Obito found himself lost in thought, whispering to himself, revealing the entire plan now could pose a significant risk, there's a high chance that he might attempt to tamper with it. After all, he embodies the will of Uchiha Madara, and that's a scenario I certainly don't want to see unfold. After expressing this concern, Obito activated Kamui and gracefully phased out of the room, disappearing into the unknown. Chapter 170. After issuing warnings to the Akatsuki members, Juryoku didn't immediately make his way back to the Joken mansion. Instead, he took the opportunity to explore the ninja world at leisure, relishing the diverse local delicacies along the way. It wasn't until 3 days later that he finally returned to the comforts of the Joken mansion. Meanwhile, within the elegant halls of the Joken mansion, just moments before Juryoku's arrival, a small gathering of guests had been warmly welcomed, with Joken herself graciously attending to their needs. These esteemed guests none other than Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru. "How have you been?" Joken inquired warmly, enveloping Ino in a sincere embrace. "I'm doing all right, but there seems to have been a misunderstanding between Juryoku and me." Ino's explanation was abruptly halted by the concerned tone of Joken, who interjected, "What did you say? A misunderstanding between you and Juryoku? That's rather unexpected. How did this come about? Did Juryoku mistreat you in any way? Please, tell me. I'll certainly have a word with him." Upon witnessing Joken's escalating concern, Ino hastened to clarify, "It was all my doing. Juryoku is blameless in this matter." Joken found herself in a state of confusion after hearing this unexpected revelation. "Well, let me explain," began Ino, taking her time to recount the series of events. She elaborated on how she, along with Shikamaru and Choji, had misunderstood Juryoku's intentions and grew dissatisfied with his failure to eliminate the Akatsuki. Additionally, she addressed the sensitive topic of Asuma's tragic death. "Ah, I see. So that's the situation," remarked Joken, her expression softening with understanding. "I had thought something more severe had occurred. Please accept my heartfelt condolences for the loss of your sensei." After a brief moment of contemplation, Joken resumed speaking, "Furthermore, I inquired of Juryoku why he hasn't taken action against the Akatsuki. His response was enlightening. He conveyed that our world faces even greater threats on the horizon. To illustrate the gravity of the situation, he cited the example of the founder of Ninshu, the Sage of Six Paths, who, despite his legendary prowess, would be vulnerable and easily overcome by these looming adversaries. Thus, in order to safeguard our planet and, more specifically, his beloved ones, us, the inhabitants of this planet, Juryoku believes he must ascend to greater heights of power. Hence, he views the success of the Akatsuki's plan as integral to this plans." Upon receiving the explanation from Joken, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji were completely taken aback, their astonishment palpable. It dawned on them that Joken, being an ordinary person, might not grasp the weight of the name Sage of Six Paths. This revered figure is not merely a legend, rather, he is regarded as the god of the ninja, credited with the very creation of ninjutsu itself. Moreover, they couldn't shake the memory of witnessing firsthand the intense battle between Juryoku and the son of the Sage of Six Paths, Azura. This epic clash had left devastation in its wake, annihilating everything within a 10-kilometer radius. "He never once disclosed to us the weight he carries on his shoulders," remarked Ino, her tone reflecting a mix of surprise and concern. "I comprehend that our strength may not match his, but we can certainly endeavor to lend our support in any way we can," Choji chimed in, his voice filled with determination. "I can somewhat grasp his perspective. He likely doesn't wish for us to bear the burden he carries. After all, it rests solely upon his shoulders," added Shikamaru, his words tinged with understanding. "I wouldn't call it a burden," Juryoku retorted confidently. "Instead, I simply relish the process and find joy in the thrill of life. Besides, I consider myself invincible, nothing can harm me," he added. Of course, Juryoku's claim of invincibility was far from accurate. Even with his current strength, he harbored doubts about his ability to defeat Madara Uchiha, let alone Kage. Not to mention, there were still numerous other members of the Akatsuki clan, such as Momoshiki, Kinshiki, and the most formidable of them all, the Akatsuki god. The room was filled with surprise as the voice echoed through, revealing itself to be none other than Juryoku's. Moments later, Juryoku made his entrance into the hall where all four of them were currently seated and engaged in conversation. Upon seeing him, Ino quickly rose from her seat and approached Juryoku with a remorseful expression. "I'm truly sorry for my earlier words after Asuma-sensei's passing," she expressed with sincerity. Juryoku responded with understanding, "It's all right. I know you were all grieving, and your words were spoken in the heat of the moment." Continuing, Juryoku remarked, "It seems your parents have shared the truth about the hospital incident with you." "Yes," confirmed Shikamaru, also expressing regret. "And I apologize for doubting your intentions." "I, too, am deeply sorry," Choji chimed in. Juryoku nodded in acknowledgement, appreciating their apologies. Chapter 171. After everyone had settled down in the room, Shikamaru posed a question. "Joken told us about the enemies from outside our world. Are they truly more powerful than the legendary Sage of Six Paths?" Responding confidently, Juryoku remarked, "Indeed, there is no doubt about it. As you are well aware, a ninja's prowess predominantly hinges on their bloodline." Choji interjected, adding to the discussion, "But what about famous ninjas like the Fourth Hokage and Hatake Tsukumo? They don't hail from such influential clans, do they?" "You are fundamentally mistaken in this regard. While it's true that the clans they hail from aren't inherently powerful, it's important to note their affiliations with either the Senju clan or the Uzumaki clan. These connections, alongside their relentless dedication, have played a significant role in their ascent to power. Undoubtedly, hard work is a crucial factor, but it's an undeniable truth that a potent bloodline often serves as a catalyst for a ninja's strength. However, there exists an exception to this norm, embodied by none other than the Blue Beast of Konoha, Might Guy. Despite lacking a formidable bloodline, his unwavering determination and relentless effort have elevated him to the status of one of the most formidable individuals alive. Were he to unleash his full potential, prepared to sacrifice everything, he possesses the capacity to unleash a level of might that could even rival that of the Sage of Six Paths," elucidated Juryoku. "Whoa, so powerful?" Choji exclaimed, his expression betraying his astonishment. Juryoku elaborated, "Why do you think I consistently avoided confronting him in the past and refrained from escalating matters concerning Konoha? This was precisely the reason. However, given my current strength, I no longer harbor any fear of him. Even if he were to unleash his full potential, his abilities wouldn't pose a significant threat to me. I grasp the concept of bloodline strength, and I concur with your viewpoint. However, I'm puzzled about how the notion of bloodline ties into the legend of this Sage of Six Paths, Shikamaru inquired, seeking clarification. Juryoku responded to Shikamaru's query, emphasizing, this is immensely important because the Sage of Six Paths possesses half of their bloodline. Despite being a hybrid of human and their lineage, he wielded enough power to potentially obliterate the entire world at his peak strength. This should give you a glimpse of the sheer might that those impending individuals may wield. Upon digesting this revelation, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji found themselves engulfed in shock, their minds grappling with the implications and an unsettling sense of fear towards the unknown. Even Joken, who lacked extensive knowledge about the Sage of Six Paths, couldn't help but feel a shiver of apprehension, her imagination painting a vivid picture of the potential catastrophe described by Juryoku. Despite the prevailing fear among everyone present towards the impending arrival of an unknown enemy, their primary sentiment was one of deep concern directed towards Juryoku. They harbored genuine worries about his well-being, fearing potential harm if he proved unable to thwart the impending threat. Through his observation haki, Juryoku keenly sensed and comprehended the intricate emotions of each and every individual present, discerning their concerns and anxieties with remarkable acuity. So Juryoku reassured them, you all don't have to worry. I am constantly working on becoming stronger. It won't be long before I acquire the strength necessary to protect all of us. Have faith in me. Rest assured, I won't act recklessly. You've known me since childhood. If there's something I'm not confident about, I refrain from it until I'm fully prepared to tackle it. Even with Juryoku's reassurance, they found it difficult to entirely let go of their worries regarding his safety. Nonetheless, they also recognized their limited ability to aid him in this situation. It was then that Shikamaru stood up, facing Juryoku with determination. Juryoku, he began, I believe it's imperative that we share this information with the entire world. By doing so, we can rally together and prepare to confront this looming threat as a united front. Are you speaking like this, Shikamaru? You're known for your intelligence. I didn't expect such a question from someone like you, remarked Juryoku, expressing surprise. You're fully aware that the world is currently divided based on personal interests. Let's entertain the idea that we inform them about the impending danger. The real challenge lies in how we intend to prove it. Observing Shikamaru's reaction, it was evident to everyone that he wasn't someone to be underestimated. He leaned back into his seat, contemplating the situation. Despite his initial outburst driven by emotion, he could foresee the potential consequences if they failed to provide any concrete evidence. You're absolutely right, there's no conceivable reason for them to place their trust in us, Shikamaru concurred with a nod. Moreover, it's worth considering that even if every ninja village were to unite in solidarity, the outcome may still be futile. Picture two colossal elephants engaged in a fierce battle. Now, envision the fate of the ants and insects bustling about on the ground beneath them. They're merely collateral, destined to be crushed amidst the chaos, elaborated Juryoku, highlighting the stark reality of the situation. Chapter 172, Indeed, that is absolutely correct, said Shikamaru, nodding thoughtfully. Shikamaru's realization dawned upon him with clarity. Juryoku's insight was indeed astute. He could effortlessly draw upon the fierce battle between Juryoku and Azura as a point of reference. The sheer destructive force unleashed in their confrontation left an indelible mark. The aftermath alone was more than sufficient to lay waste to a significant portion of the populace. All right, let's shift away from this topic and refrain from feeling down, suggested Juryoku, his tone gentle yet firm. A warm smile graced his lips as he continued, we've been blessed with this precious opportunity to reunite after such a prolonged separation. Let's embrace this moment and revel in each other's company, shall we? Upon hearing Juryoku's words, a collective nod swept through the group, signaling an end to their previous conversation and ushering in a new focus on sharing tales of happiness and positivity. Prompted by Joken, arrangements were swiftly made to prepare a lavish feast for all present. Will you be resuming your training as usual? Inquired Shikamaru, his curiosity piqued. Yes, but with a twist. I plan to embark on a journey across the world, for there are intriguing events on the horizon that I wish to witness firsthand, explained Juryoku. What kind of events are those? Can I come along? Ino asked, her curiosity piqued and her anticipation palpable, her gaze fixed on Juryoku. Various events, ranging from clashes between siblings to other search missions, but predominantly each will feature some form of battle, elucidated Juryoku, his voice carrying a hint of excitement. If you'd like to accompany me, then by all means, why not? I don't foresee any issues, Juryoku assured Ino with a warm smile, extending the invitation openly. Shikamaru ventured a guess. Are you referring to the epic clash between Uchiha Sasuke and Uchiha Itachi? Juryoku nodded in affirmation, a thoughtful hum escaping his lips. They are quite pitiful, Juryoku added with a heavy sigh, his expression reflecting a mix of empathy and sorrow. Juryoku, sensing the room's atmosphere shift back to a somber tone, internally acknowledged the need to lift spirits. With a cheerful tone, he interjected, why dwell on these melancholic matters? Let's indulge in the feast that awaits us, it's already been prepared. Responding to his prompt, everyone eagerly partook in the feast, savoring the moment of camaraderie. As 2 days elapsed, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji readied themselves for the journey back to Konoha. Are you absolutely sure you don't wish to join me? Juryoku queried, his gaze shifting between Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji, a hint of hopeful persuasion lacing his words. Shikamaru nodded in agreement before responding, yeah, we're sure. We have a few tasks awaiting us. Even if our assistance may be limited, we'll strive to enhance our strength to the best of our abilities. Rest assured, I'll devise a plan to help you all grow stronger, Juryoku assured them with a determined expression. Acknowledging Juryoku's assurance with grateful nods, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji bid farewell and exited the Joken mansion, their thoughts filled with anticipation for their journey ahead. As Juryoku also prepared to depart, he turned to Joken, expressing, all right then, I'll be taking my leave now. Please take care of yourself here. Joken reciprocated the sentiment with a nod and replied, you too, take care of yourself out there. With a final nod of understanding, Juryoku left the Joken mansion, ready to embark on his next adventure. While traveling outside the Fire Country's borders, Juryoku directed his inquiry to the system, I'm wondering if there's any method available to boost the strength of my loved ones? Ding! Host. After successfully integrating the Lucifero template to 100%, you will unlock the extraordinary ability to empower your loved ones with the attributes of lesser demons, all through the infusion of your blood. Through this process, they will undergo a transformation, becoming beings of both demon and human origin. Initially, your blood can be shared with a maximum of 3 individuals. However, as you advance even further, you will gain the capacity to extend this empowerment to additional individuals, transforming them into demons as well. After receiving the answer from the system, Juryoku thought to himself, this is indeed a positive development. I had been quite concerned that upon integrating 100% of the Lucifero, I would have to endure loneliness in this world for an extended period. Even now, I can sense a drastic increase in my lifespan. While I cannot be certain, I do not anticipate my demise for at least 500 to 600 years. Moreover, upon achieving full integration of the Lucifero template, I will attain immortality. Not to mention, in the future, I will even merge with the chakra of the Ten Tails. With a happy mood, Juryoku continued his journey. Chapter 173, Juryoku wandered aimlessly through various locales, his movements imbued with purpose despite their seemingly casual nature. While he journeyed without a specific destination in mind, his keen senses remained attuned to any potential clues regarding Jigen's whereabouts. He was determined to uncover any leads pertaining to Jigen, especially considering his calculations suggested that Kara must have already become active. His approach was subtle and discreet, he made no overt displays of his intentions. Instead, he relied on his honed observation haki to guide him through his explorations. Every step he took was infused with anticipation, hopeful that each turn or encounter might yield valuable insights into the elusive Jigen. Yet, he also understood the fickleness of fate, recognizing that sometimes, despite his best efforts, certain truths remained elusive. Even in the event that Juryoku manages to ascertain Jigen's whereabouts, he remains hesitant to take any decisive action. This reluctance stems from his lack of confidence in his own strength to overcome Jigen. While Juryoku acknowledges that his current capabilities may allow him to agitate Jigen or evade him in combat, the prospect of outright defeating Jigen appears insurmountable. Moreover, considering the potential scenario wherein Ishiki unveils his true form, Juryoku recognizes that his existing strength would be wholly inadequate to confront such a formidable enemy. Juryoku continued to roam, and predictably, he found nothing. This outcome was well within his expectations, considering that the Kara organization was located in an entirely different dimension. The likelihood of stumbling upon any leads was incredibly slim, and he accepted that if, by some stroke of luck, he did come across something, it would be a stroke of good fortune. If not, then so be it. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks passed by, Nagato diligently labored until finally, after a span of 3 weeks, every task was completed, and all the tailed beasts, save for the 8 tails and 9 tails, were securely sealed away. Approaching the Deva path with a sense of resolve, Itachi conveyed his intentions, stating, "The impending clash with my younger brother, Uchiha Sasuke, approaches swiftly. Therefore, I must take my leave now. Should fortune favor me in this battle and grant me survival, I promise to return with all due haste." The specter of Itachi's imminent battle loomed over everyone present, the stakes clear to all. In this fateful confrontation, only one of the brothers would emerge victorious, an outcome predetermined and unalterable. "All right then, White Zetsu will accompany you. I trust you'll uphold your end of the bargain," remarked Nagato. Itachi nodded in acknowledgement before taking his leave. "Do you think we should assign someone else to accompany him?" queried Konan. Nagato shook his head. "Not necessary. Obito assured me he'll take care of it personally." Konan nodded in understanding, choosing to remain silent thereafter. "Each of you, ensure you get proper rest. Once the outcome of this battle is determined, we will proceed with our plan to capture the 8 tails," declared the Deva path before departing. Simultaneously, as Itachi bid farewell to the Akatsuki organization in the Hokage's office of Konoha. "Granny Tsunade, I've successfully mastered the Sage Mode," Naruto exclaimed, his excitement palpable as he stood beside Fukasaku and Shima. Upon hearing this news, Jiraiya and Tsunade exchanged nods of approval, their smiles reflecting a sense of relief. Kakashi and Sakura, too, joined in, sharing the collective joy. Overflowing with enthusiasm, Naruto eagerly proposed, "Allow me to demonstrate my Sage Mode abilities," eager to showcase his newfound prowess to his mentors. Instantly, Naruto seated himself in the lotus position, focusing his chakra, and within a mere 5 minutes, he successfully entered the Sage Mode. As his concentration deepened, his eyelids took on a vibrant orange hue, and his pupils transformed to resemble those of a toad. Jiraiya and Tsunade, who were familiar with the Sage Mode, were able to discern the extraordinary nature of Naruto's transformation. Naruto's transition was remarkably close to achieving the perfect Sage Mode, which astonished them both. At that precise moment, Yamato briskly entered the Hokage's office, delivering urgent news to Tsunade as he handed her a document. "Lady Hokage, we've just received intel on the movements of Uchiha Sasuke." "Sasuke!" Naruto exclaimed, his surprise quickly giving way to excitement. "Granny, please, you must tell me his whereabouts at once. This time, I'm determined to bring him back to Konoha, no matter what." Sakura, too, turned her gaze towards Tsunade, her eyes reflecting a sense of hopeful expectation as she awaited the Hokage's response. "Calm down, Naruto. Lady Hokage will provide us with the necessary information," Kakashi interjected, his tone soothing. "Is his purpose unknown?" Tsunade inquired, her gaze shifting to Yamato for clarification. "Indeed, we were unable to ascertain Uchiha Sasuke's intentions. However, judging by the urgency of his recent movements, it's safe to conclude that the matter at hand holds significant importance," Yamato elaborated, his expression serious yet thoughtful. Chapter 174, "I see," Tsunade remarked with a subtle nod of understanding, her gaze steady. Fixing her eyes on Jiraiya, she continued, "You, too, will accompany Team 7 and ensure the successful capture of Uchiha Sasuke this time. Jiraiya acknowledged her directive with a firm nod, his resolve evident in his voice as he replied, "Rest assured, I will undertake every measure to bring Uchiha Sasuke back, regardless of the obstacles." "Ah, Hokage-sama, there's also an additional matter I need to address," Yamato interjected. Curiosity piqued, Tsunade leaned forward slightly, encouraging Yamato to elaborate. Go ahead and fill me in," she urged. "We've come across traces of Juryoku in numerous towns and villages. Yet, the purpose behind his wanderings remains a mystery," Yamato relayed. "Did the Umbu ninjas attempt to tail him?" Tsunade sought clarification. "Indeed, they did make an attempt," Yamato confirmed. However, Juryoku warned them against further pursuit, cautioning of potential consequences. Consequently, they refrained from following him any further. "It's understandable, considering the unpredictable nature of Juryoku," he elaborated. You made the correct decision," Tsunade acknowledged with a nod of approval. Regarding the issue concerning Juryoku, it appeared that it didn't garner much attention within the office. In Konoha, it was only Inoshikacho who showed any concern for Juryoku's situation and maintained a positive relationship with him. Subsequently, without delaying any further, Jiraiya swiftly departed from Konoha accompanied by Team 7 within a matter of hours. After a full day had passed, Sasuke finally reached the designated location where Itachi had summoned him through his crow. Meanwhile, within the confines of the Uchiha hideout, Itachi sat regally upon a throne-like chair, its surface adorned with intricate tomo patterns. With his eyes shut in deep concentration, he was interrupted by the sudden appearance of White Zetsu at his side. "I've just caught sight of Juryoku nearby," White Zetsu reported promptly. Itachi's eyes flickered open, narrowing with intensity as he questioned, "Where exactly is he?" "He's currently suspended in the air," White Zetsu replied. Puzzled by this unexpected revelation, Itachi pondered silently, what could possibly be his purpose for being here? But now, there is nothing Itachi can do about it because his fated battle with Sasuke is inevitably approaching, and it cannot be delayed any longer. As a result of overexertion in the battle with Juryoku, his terminal illness has exacerbated, leaving him with no option but to face Sasuke. He must aid Sasuke in awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan and transfer his Sharingan to Sasuke so that Sasuke can attain the legendary Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Consequently, he finds himself unable to control who may be observing their confrontation or predict what the future holds. "If everything unfolds as per my calculations," ruminated Itachi, "then there should be no cause for concern regarding Sasuke's safety." With this reassurance in mind, he closed his eyes once more, patiently anticipating the arrival of his younger sibling. At long last, Sasuke arrived, and the two brothers commenced their encounter. However, the skirmish was nothing more than an elaborate ninjutsu. To any observer, it appeared as though both siblings stood motionless, locked in a silent exchange of stares within their respective positions. Finally, after anticipation mounted, the intense battle of ninjutsu erupted between Itachi and Sasuke. With each passing moment, the confrontation in the real world caused the once sturdy Uchiha hideout to crumble, succumbing to the onslaught from various angles. It was at this critical juncture that Naruto, accompanied by Jiraiya, Sakura, and Kakashi, made their long-awaited entrance. "Sasuke is currently engaged in combat with his brother, Itachi," Sakura relayed, her expression reflecting her deep concern for Sasuke's well-being. "We need to lend our support to Sasuke without delay," declared Naruto with unwavering determination, already taking strides forward. However, just as Naruto began to advance, a mysterious spatial vortex materialized before them. The individual who emerged from the vortex was none other than Obito himself, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the unfolding events. "Stop right there, no one can interfere in this battle," commanded Obito with a tone of authority, halting Naruto and the others in their tracks. "You're Kakashi-sensei's friend, aren't you? Why are you obstructing us?" "Please, move aside," said Naruto, his voice tinged with urgency. Upon hearing Naruto's inquiry, Obito's countenance hardened, his expression turning cold as he reiterated, "I've already stated that no one is allowed to interfere." That includes you. With a swift motion, Obito employed the wood release, cutting technique, launching sharp wooden thorns toward Naruto, who agilely dodged the attack, forced to retreat momentarily. This is your final warning. Don't push me, or there will be consequences. Just stand here quietly and observe the battle, warned Obito sternly, before utilizing Kamui to vanish from sight, leading Naruto and the others to ponder his cryptic words. With a thoughtful look etched on his face, Kakashi addressed Naruto, emphasizing the importance of believing in Sasuke's abilities. Naruto, we must place our trust in Sasuke's strength. It's imperative that we refrain from intervening in this battle. Perhaps, once the dust settles and Sasuke emerges victorious, he may be more inclined to return with us. If he succeeds in defeating Itachi and finally achieves closure in his quest for revenge, he will undoubtedly return with us. Chapter 175. Finally, after engaging in a few more exchanges, Sasuke decisively employed the technique Kirin for the first time. It's intriguing to note that this particular move by Sasuke drew inspiration from Juryoku's devastating Lightning Thunder Dragon technique. Juryoku utilized this formidable maneuver as a final gambit to divert the attention of the Konoha ninjas before departing, leaving a wake of destruction in his path. Notably, Juryoku first unleashed this powerful technique during his initial assault on Konoha as a pivotal part of his vengeful scheme. Kirin descended upon Itachi, yet despite the formidable force behind the technique, Itachi exhibited remarkable prowess in defense, effortlessly shielding himself using the formidable Susanoo technique. "You'll have to put in more effort if you wish to stand a chance against me," remarked Itachi calmly, though his eyes betrayed the strain of overuse, bleeding persistently due to the relentless activation of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Finally, Sasuke found himself overwhelmed as he lost control over his cursed seal. From its confines emerged a colossal serpent, its jaws revealing the unmistakable form of Orochimaru within. Sasuke, drained of chakra, struggled futilely to suppress Orochimaru's influence, lacking the necessary energy to contain the rogue ninja. Orochimaru unleashed his mightiest form, known as the 8 branches technique, transforming into a massive serpent with 8 heads and tails. This formidable manifestation of Orochimaru's power wreaked havoc as it effortlessly tore through the Uchiha hideout, leaving destruction in its wake. "It seems Orochimaru has survived," Jiraiya remarked, his expression grave with the realization. Indeed, Sasuke's possession of the cursed seal makes Orochimaru's continued existence less surprising, Kakashi concurred. Jiraiya nodded, acknowledging Kakashi's point. True. Orochimaru had placed a cursed seal on Sasuke as well, and it appears Sasuke is struggling to suppress its influence. Now, it appears imperative that we intervene in this battle, otherwise, there is a significant risk of Sasuke falling under Orochimaru's possession, leading to Orochimaru's resurrection, an outcome none of us wish to witness, Kakashi asserted. Jiraiya, with a solemn expression, shook his head and responded, "At present, we will refrain from taking action, our stance shall be that of mere observation. Let us be vigilant. Your friend appears poised to strike the moment we make even the slightest advance." Naruto and Sakura found themselves becoming more and more uneasy as they absorbed the weight of Kakashi and Jiraiya's words. The prospect of Naruto impulsively charging into the battlefield loomed large, a scenario they desperately sought to avoid. Kakashi's firm grasp prevented such a hasty action, sparing them from the unnecessary confrontation with Obito, which was certainly ill-timed given the circumstances. In the midst of the observers' anticipation, all eyes were on Itachi, waiting with bated breath to witness his reaction to Orochimaru's impending attack. With deliberate poise, Itachi reached for his legendary sword of Totsuka, adding an air of solemnity to the already tense atmosphere. Orochimaru moved with remarkable speed, darting towards Itachi's Susanoo with a velocity that seemed almost supernatural. However, despite his swift approach, Itachi effortlessly severed one of Orochimaru's heads, leaving a total of 7 still intact. Undeterred by this setback, Orochimaru pressed on, unleashing a relentless barrage of attacks from various angles, using the remaining heads to assail Itachi's Susanoo from all sides. The sword of Totsuka wielded by Itachi cleaved through Orochimaru's head with an almost casual ease, akin to a knife slicing through softened butter. In the end, only one head remained of the colossal serpent, a solitary remnant of its former might. It was from this lone remaining head that Orochimaru finally emerged, his determination undiminished despite the odds stacked against him. Upon Orochimaru's sudden appearance, he jubilantly declared, "At last, I have succeeded in seizing control of Uchiha Sasuke's body." However, his triumphant moment was short-lived as Itachi's formidable sword of Totsuka promptly impaled Orochimaru's form. Despite just being resurrected, Orochimaru brimmed with joy and zeal, his confidence evident on his face, his trademark smile unwavering. "Itachi," he sneered, "do you truly believe that an attack of this magnitude could possibly harm me? Your naivety astounds me." Before Orochimaru could even react, a sudden sensation gripped his body, drawing him inexorably towards a mysterious cord. "What? So it was with you all along," Orochimaru exclaimed, his eyes fixed on the sword of Totsuka held within Itachi's Susanoo. It was only as he felt the precise effects of the sword of Totsuka that Orochimaru began to comprehend its true power. With a look of unwillingness, Orochimaru was sealed by Itachi for eternity within the gourd. However, a small snake broke off from Orochimaru's large form and managed to escape. Nonetheless, the towering version of Orochimaru, comparable in size to tail beasts, had vanished entirely. Moreover, Orochimaru had lost his combat abilities and was forced to flee in the form of that small snake. Chapter 176. After eliminating Orochimaru, Itachi coughed up blood as the terminal illness once again surged through his body. "Your eyes are mine now," declared Itachi as he advanced. Sasuke, already drained of energy, felt a surge of fear and unleashed a barrage of attacks on Itachi, employing tactics ranging from hurling shurikens to deploying explosive tags. Yet, none of these maneuvers managed to breach the impregnable defense of Susanoo and the protective barrier of the Yata mirror. Within the shelter of Susanoo, Itachi remained unscathed. "I'm sorry, Sasuke. There won't be a next time," said Itachi softly, standing in close proximity to Sasuke. After gently tapping Sasuke's head one last time, Itachi succumbed to his illness and passed away. Itachi's demise wasn't at the hands of Sasuke, but rather to the relentless grasp of his terminal sickness. He died fulfilling his duty to protect his brother until his very last breath. He remained alive until now solely due to his sheer willpower. The last time I fought him, his terminal illness had already surfaced, and he should have perished within days. Yet, he persevered, living until this very moment solely for the sake of his brother, sighed Juryoku, reflecting on Itachi's resilience. "I simply can't comprehend how such a compassionate individual could commit such atrocities against his own family for trivial reasons," he added. As he spoke, Juryoku's eyes remained open, not utilizing his observation haki to observe the final movements of the battle. Instead, he watched the conflict unfold with his natural sight. At this moment, Sasuke, too, succumbed to the overwhelming fatigue, collapsing to the earth in a crumpled heap. The ethereal flames of Amaterasu engulfed the surroundings with an ominous darkness, their intense heat searing everything in their path. "Sasuke!" Naruto's heart lurched as he witnessed Sasuke fall unconscious. Without hesitation, he propelled himself forward, his legs carrying him swiftly towards Sasuke and Itachi. Observing Naruto's determined advance, Obito sprang into action, conjuring forth his formidable woodcutting technique with precision and speed. "Rasengan!" Naruto's voice rang out with fierce determination as he unleashed his signature technique, colliding with the incoming wooden thorns and obliterating them in a dazzling display of power and skill. As Obito prepared to unleash another assault on Naruto, a sudden intervention disrupted his plans. Jiraiya materialized before Obito, swiftly launching a barrage of hair needles and bond towards him. A multitude of hair-like needles, hardened to the consistency of iron, bore down upon Obito with relentless force. Faced with Jiraiya's unexpected onslaught, Obito had no recourse but to invoke his formidable ability, Kamui, phasing out of harm's way just in the nick of time. "Go retrieve Sasuke," Jiraiya commanded, his voice firm and resolute. "I'll handle Obito here. But tread cautiously around those black flames, they defy conventional extinguishment. Employ a sealing technique to contain the black flame." With Jiraiya holding the line, the others set off on their mission. Despite Jiraiya's formidable prowess, he found himself locked in a stalemate with Obito, neither able to gain a decisive advantage over the other. Meanwhile, as Obito and Jiraiya clashed in a whirlwind of jutsu, Kakashi and Naruto pressed onward, finally arriving at Sasuke's location. But their moment of triumph was short-lived as Obito suddenly materialized before them, utilizing his Kamui technique to intercept their efforts. "You won't take him," Obito declared, his voice tinged with determination. With a solemn touch, he laid his hand upon the lifeless form of Itachi and the unconscious Sasuke, whisking them away into his Kamui space. Frustration boiled over within Naruto as he bellowed, "Let go of Sasuke!" With a surge of raw emotion, he underwent a transformation, manifesting the fearsome power of the tailed beast mode. Yet, despite his ferocious assault, each strike passed through Obito's incorporeal form without inflicting any harm. "Your efforts are futile," Obito asserted calmly, unruffled by Naruto's onslaught. Undeterred, Kakashi's resolve remained unwavering. Removing his Konoha forehead protector from his eye with a determined gesture, he turned to Sakura, his expression resolute. "Sakura, ignite all the explosive tags in your possession and throw them towards me." Though puzzled by Kakashi's directive, Sakura trusted in his judgment. Igniting the explosive tags as instructed, she hurled them towards Kakashi, poised to execute whatever plan he had devised. Kakashi swiftly activated his Mangekyo Sharingan ability known as Kamui, conjuring the mysterious power to warp space itself. With a focused gaze, he directed it towards the incoming barrage of explosive tags, causing them to dissipate into nothingness before reaching him. Kakashi did this because he remembered the moment when Juryoku fought with Obito. Simultaneously, when Kakashi used Kamui to deflect Deidara's explosive attack, Obito got injured. So, based on that theory, Kakashi attempted this to verify if Obito would truly be affected by his attack. In the meantime, Obito attentively observed Kakashi's maneuvers and harbored the intention to retreat in order to deactivate his Kamui. However, Naruto, seemingly acting in accordance with a premeditated plan, thwarted Obito's attempt to withdraw and persistently pressed forward with his unrelenting barrage on Obito. Chapter 177, Obito found himself unable to retreat in time, leaving Naruto free to persist in his relentless assault. Amidst the chaos, Obito briefly entertained the notion of solidifying his form instead of remaining intangible. Contemplating his options, he weighed the possibility of dodging the explosive tag blast only to absorb Naruto's incoming attack. Yet, he quickly dismissed the idea, reasoning that while the explosion might cause some injury, it would likely be manageable. Conversely, the prospect of facing Naruto's onslaught posed a far graver threat, with the potential for severe injuries, or worse, even death looming large. Thus, Obito reluctantly abandoned the risky strategy, opting to evade Naruto's attacks altogether. Finally, at the current moment in time, the right shoulder, previously intangible and secluded within the Kamui space, was abruptly struck by the explosive tags dispatched by Kakashi through the formidable power of his Mangekyo Sharingan. Consequently, Obito suffered a notable injury to his right shoulder, causing him evident discomfort. Upon witnessing Obito's sudden affliction, Naruto found himself momentarily taken aback, his momentum momentarily halted by the unexpected turn of events. Seizing upon this fleeting pause, Obito swiftly capitalized on the opportunity to create some distance between himself and Naruto, utilizing every precious second to maneuver himself out of immediate reach. However, Naruto, undeterred by the setback and fueled by his unwavering determination, swiftly regained his focus. Recognizing the urgency of the situation and steadfast in his resolve not to allow Obito to escape with Sasuke and Itachi, Naruto resolved to press forward once more, his resolve unyielding as he prepared to confront Obito head-on. "Stop right there, if you want your friend to live," said Obito, his voice carrying a menacing tone that halted Naruto, who had been charging at him with full speed. "Bastard, if you dare lay a finger on Sasuke, I will never forgive you," declared Naruto, his eyes blazing with determination. "I am not the one harming Sasuke, it's all of you who are causing him harm," Obito retorted calmly, his gaze piercing through the tension-filled air. "What do you mean, Obito?" Don't for a moment believe you can deceive us and walk away unscathed today, Kakashi interjected sharply, his hand instinctively reaching for his weapon. Today, not only will we secure Sasuke's safety, but I will also ensure you come with us, Kakashi continued, his tone resolute. You are sorely mistaken if you think you can simply whisk me away, Kakashi, Obito countered defiantly, his stance unwavering. Neither do you possess the strength to do so, nor do you have the right. The solitary task I entrusted to you was to protect her, yet even that proved beyond your capabilities, said Obito, his voice sending shivers down the spine, a chilling echo mixed with an undercurrent of profound sadness. I refuse to engage in meaningless banter with you. Allow me to be unequivocal, while you did indeed assail me, the injuries inflicted were but minor in comparison. However, can you confidently state that your student remains unscathed? He was already grievously wounded following his confrontation with Itachi. And now, with the reckless barrage of explosive tags hurled into the Kamui space, where Sasuke currently resides, the severity of his injuries is left to the imagination. Without immediate and adequate intervention, his fate is sealed. Is that truly your desire? Obito's words were devoid of any emotion. Upon hearing the first part of Obito's conversation, a wave of sadness immediately engulfed Kakashi, for the her mentioned by Obito was none other than Lin, the one he regretfully failed to save. He longed to express his remorse, yet before he could utter a word, Obito swiftly shifted the topic to Sasuke's condition. This abrupt change caused a visible shift in the expressions of Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura, their faces now betraying concern and apprehension. Damn it! Why didn't I think of this sooner? Kakashi lamented, his hand reflexively patting his head in frustration. Kakashi, there's no point in dwelling on frustration, remarked Jiraiya, who had just arrived on the scene. Upon witnessing Jiraiya's sudden appearance, Obito uttered, "We will meet again on another day. Until then, farewell." With those words, Obito commenced his disappearance, utilizing his Kamui technique. In this instance, they found themselves with no recourse but to helplessly observe Obito's departure. Once again, we've failed to bring Sasuke back, Naruto lamented as he reverted from his tailed beast form. Take a breath, Naruto. There will be other opportunities, reassured Jiraiya. Concern etched on her features, Sakura inquired, will Sasuke be alright? Although nothing can be stated with absolute certainty, there's reason to believe Sasuke should be alright. All we can do now is hope for the best, Kakashi remarked. A moment of silence ensued, lingering briefly before Jiraiya broke it, suggesting, given our mission's failure, it's time we made our way back to Konoha. Chapter 178, Juryoku, who watched the entire battle, also departed without wasting any time since his purpose for coming here had been fulfilled. Jiraiya, Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura likewise departed from the location. In a dimly lit room, Sasuke opened his eyes and glanced around, finding himself enveloped in snug white bandages. As he adjusted the wrapping around his head, Sasuke asked, "Where am I?" "I recall losing consciousness due to my severe injuries." "You were indeed severely injured." "It required considerable effort on my part to save you," replied a voice, which belonged to none other than Obito. Obito literally had to do his best to save Sasuke because the detonation of explosive tags inside the Kamui space further exacerbated Sasuke's injuries. In order to heal the exacerbated injuries and keep Sasuke alive, Obito had to exert himself. Obito appeared, and as Sasuke gazed into Obito's eyes, their eyes met, prompting Sasuke to unleash Amaterasu on Obito. And Obito's entire body was engulfed in the black flames of Amaterasu. Obito had no choice but to resort to using Izanagi to save himself. Upon reappearing, Obito exclaimed in a frustrated tone, "Damn it, Itachi, you will go to any length to protect your younger brother. I managed to avoid using Izanagi even while battling Naruto and Kakashi, but now I've had to use Izanagi even though I'm not engaged in combat." "What are you talking about? Why the hell would that man protect me?" said Sasuke. "You don't understand everything. Everything Itachi did until now was to protect you. He killed his own clan just so he could protect you," replied Obito. "What nonsense are you talking about?" No, this can never happen, said Sasuke. Mentally exhausted and already injured, Sasuke couldn't process this revelation and fainted. Finally, after a few hours, Sasuke was able to regain consciousness, and then Obito explained everything to him. Obito detailed the entire history of the Uchiha clan to Sasuke, including how the higher-ups of Konoha coerced Itachi into a devastating decision. Itachi was given two options: either protect his younger brother, Sasuke, or exterminate the entire Uchiha clan. With a heavy heart, Itachi chose Sasuke and reluctantly agreed to the demands of the Konoha authorities to wipe out his own clan. At first, obviously, Sasuke didn't believe everything Obito told him. However, when Sasuke visited the Howling Wolf village and learned from Kaina and Rasenshuriken how Itachi used to speak about Sasuke all the time to them, and from them, Sasuke also learned about Itachi's terminal illness, which Itachi had been suffering from for years. After all of this, Sasuke finally believed that his brother was indeed a good person, but due to circumstances created by the higher-ups of Konoha, Itachi had to do what he did. Finally, when Sasuke returned from the Howling Wolf village, he awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan, and on that day, he also renamed his established organization from Hibi to Taka. The sole mission of Taka was to destroy Konoha. I will assist you in destroying Konoha, but first, you must help me kill someone, said Obito. Let me be clear, I only wish to eliminate the higher-ups of Konoha, not all of its people, said Sasuke. He then continued, who do you want me to kill? Nagato, also known by the name Pain, replied Obito, his voice carrying a weight of significance. Isn't he the leader of the Akatsuki? Inquired Sasuke, his brow furrowing with curiosity. No, I am the leader of the Akatsuki, clarified Obito, his tone decisive. Now, I have no use for Pain in my plan, and he also possesses something that belongs to me, something I must reclaim. A thoughtful expression crossed Sasuke's face. He contemplated asking, if that possession holds such value to you, why don't you retrieve it yourself? Yet, he refrained, sensing there might be deeper reasons at play. Instead, he simply nodded, his agreement conveyed through a solemn gesture. Okay, I will assist you in eliminating Nagato. Obito returned Sasuke's nod, a sense of satisfaction emanating from his demeanor as he acknowledged Sasuke's commitment to their cause. The entire process of Sasuke's journey to the Howling Wolf village and the subsequent awakening of his Mangekyo Sharingan spanned nearly a week, filled with revelations and intense introspection. Meanwhile, back in Konoha, a mere 2 days after the climactic showdown between Itachi and Sasuke, Jiraiya, accompanied by Team 7, returned to the safety of the village's walls. Within the solemn confines of the Hokage's office, Jiraiya meticulously recounted the recent tumultuous events to Tsunade. Regrettably, our attempts to capture Sasuke were in vain. We bore witness to the fierce clash between Itachi and Sasuke, which culminated in Itachi's demise. Furthermore, Orochimaru, in a desperate bid for power, sought to seize control of Sasuke's body, only to meet his own demise at the hands of Uchiha Itachi. It seems that Orochimaru's nefarious ambitions have finally met their end, he concluded, offering a comprehensive summary of the recent turmoil. Chapter 179, Tsunade felt a quiet sense of regret after hearing the news that they were unable to bring Sasuke back. She also harbored regret over the death of Itachi. Tsunade learned about Itachi's true motives for slaughtering the Uchiha clan only after investigating both elders, Koharu and Hamura. Furthermore, she discovered that Itachi had been working as a spy for Konoha within the Akatsuki organization through the remaining records of Danzo's roots. After the passing of Hiruzen, Itachi ceased transmitting information to Konoha. Nevertheless, the lingering injustice surrounding Itachi's death continued to haunt Tsunade's thoughts. In the event of Sasuke's return, I shall personally divulge every detail to him, ensuring that Itachi receives the heroic recognition he rightfully deserves, ruminated Tsunade inwardly. What preoccupies your mind, Tsunade? Inquired Jiraiya, noticing Tsunade's contemplative demeanor. I was reflecting on the matter concerning Itachi. You are familiar with the circumstances as well, responded Tsunade. Jiraiya nodded empathetically upon comprehending Tsunade's sentiments. What matter are you referring to? Granny?" inquired Naruto, his curiosity piqued. Tsunade responded with a gentle yet firm tone, "Now is not the appropriate moment for you to be informed. When the opportune time arises, I will divulge the details to both of you. For the present, it's imperative that you and Sakura take a well-deserved rest. There's something of importance that I need to discuss with Jiraiya and Kakashi." Undeterred, Naruto pressed on, "Please, Granny, enlighten me now. Is it concerning Sasuke?" With a hint of reluctance, Tsunade considered Naruto's persistence, weighing her words carefully before responding further. "Naruto, Lady Hokage said she will disclose the information when the timing is right. We should respect her decision," Sakura stated, observing Tsunade's predicament. With that, she proceeded to drag Naruto out of the Hokage's office. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Kakashi observed as Naruto was dragged away helplessly, exchanging a sigh and a smile among themselves. After Naruto and Sakura had left, Jiraiya inquired, "Has something significant occurred that you wish to discuss with us?" Tsunade responded by sliding a letter forward on the table, stating, "Yes, both Iwagakure and Kumogakure have called for a 5 Kage summit. It seems they can no longer withstand the pressure from Akatsuki," remarked Jiraiya. "Or perhaps the influence of Juryoku has compelled them to make this move," suggested Kakashi. What exactly are you trying to convey, Kakashi?" "Please explain more clearly," requested Tsunade. Kakashi explained, "What I mean is, after witnessing the strength of Juryoku, they fear that he will unite the entire world. Additionally, they lack their tailed beasts, which they might have considered using to compete with Juryoku. Furthermore, there are only 2 tailed beasts remaining, the 9 tails and the 8 tails. If I'm not mistaken, they believe that due to Juryoku's presence, Akatsuki will never attack us, that is, Konoha. However, the same cannot be said for Kumogakure, which possesses the 8 tails. Kumogakure could become a vulnerable target for Akatsuki." "Perhaps what Kakashi is conveying holds truth," remarked Jiraiya, pondering Kakashi's insights. Your observation seems valid. Nevertheless, regardless of the circumstances, it is imperative that we attend the 5 Kage summit. As per the invitation, we are allowed to bring 2 guards. Therefore, Jiraiya, you and Kakashi will accompany me," declared Tsunade with authority. "It would not be prudent for me to partake in the 5 Kage summit. One of us must remain here to safeguard Naruto," reasoned Jiraiya, expressing his concern for Naruto's safety. "Granted, Naruto possesses formidable strength, yet leaving his security unattended is a risk we cannot afford," acknowledged Tsunade, understanding Jiraiya's apprehension. "Very well, as you suggest. Kakashi and Yamato will accompany me," decided Tsunade, considering Jiraiya's point. Indeed, that seems like a prudent arrangement," concurred Jiraiya, acknowledging Tsunade's decision. After this discussion, both Kakashi and Jiraiya left the Hokage building. After 3 days, Tsunade, along with Kakashi and Yamato, left Konoha to attend the 5 Kage summit. Obito gazed at Sasuke, who had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Just then, White Zetsu approached Obito and remarked, "Obito, the 5 Kage summit is taking place today. Almost every Kage has departed from their respective villages. What about the 8 tails Jinchuriki? Is it still in Kumogakure?" inquired Obito. "No, the 8 tails Jinchuriki has also left with the raikage for the 5 Kage summit," replied White Zetsu. "I understand. Go and inform Nagato to be prepared. Once the raikage returns with the 8 tails Jinchuriki from the 5 Kage summit, instruct Nagato to take immediate action and capture the Jinchuriki," instructed Obito. "Are you intending to intercept the raikage and the 8 tails Jinchuriki during their journey to Kumogakure?" inquired White Zetsu. "No, not at all. Although the raikage may appear reckless, he is quite intelligent and astute. We cannot risk exposing our intentions. There is a high chance that the raikage will conceal the Jinchuriki somewhere, making it difficult for us to locate it quickly," explained Obito. Chapter 180. After Obito explained the situation to White Zetsu, the conversation ended, and White Zetsu left immediately. Obito thought to himself, I hope Black Zetsu is able to find Kabuto as soon as possible because he is crucial for the next part of my plan. He doesn't know what I am planning, which is advantageous. If Black Zetsu becomes aware of my plans, he will definitely never allow such a thing. If Juryoku was not there, then I would never have tried this method because I myself don't want to move my plan in such a direction, thought Obito. I should ask Sasuke, he must know something about the location of Kabuto, muttered Obito as he left the place. Tsunade, accompanied by Kakashi and Yamato, arrived in the Iron Country where the 5 Kage Summit was scheduled to take place. Tsunade was personally received by General Mifune. Later, when the time for the meeting arrived, she, along with Kakashi and Yamato, proceeded to the meeting room. At the entrance of the meeting room, Tsunade encountered the Mizukage, Terumi. Terumi remarked, "Even at such an age you look as beautiful as ever, Hokage. Take care of your skin, you are aging now, and if this continues, you will be full of wrinkles," said Tsunade, giving a tit-for-tat. Then she continued, "And I think we should go to the meeting room, everyone else is waiting for us," said Tsunade. Terumi nodded with a twitch on her face and entered the meeting room with Tsunade, while all the guards took their places behind the curtain. "What took you both so long?" asked the Raikage as soon as Tsunade and Terumi took their places. "Raikage, this is a woman thing you won't understand," said Terumi teasingly to the Raikage. "What do you mean by saying that? Is your matter more important than the 5 Kage Summit?" said the Raikage, his voice tinged with anger. Before Terumi could reply to the Raikage, Inoki intervened and said, "Raikage, we are already late for the meeting, and the meeting can't be delayed anymore. So, I think the meeting should start now." The Raikage then remained quiet and didn't say anything. Finally, after everyone settled down, General Mifune stood up and said, "Today's 5 Kage Summit topic is to discuss the loss of tailed beasts and how to deal with the increasing power of Akatsuki." After the meeting topic was announced, Inoki was the first to speak. He said, "Hokage and Kazekage, you both are the ones with the most information on Akatsuki. Please tell us everything you know about Akatsuki. We ourselves also want to get rid of Akatsuki, so both Konoha and Sunagakure have discussed that we will share all the information that we have on Akatsuki with all of you," replied Tsunade, gesturing towards Kakashi, who then approached Tsunade. As soon as Kakashi appeared beside Tsunade, Darui, the guard of the Raikage, also appeared beside the Raikage. Seeing this, Tsunade said with a chuckle, "Are you so weak, Raikage, that you need a guard beside you to protect yourself from Kakashi? Humph. Your guard suddenly appeared beside you, that's why my guard also appeared beside me instinctively." "What is the problem with that?" said the Raikage. "And also, you said that you wanted to destroy Akatsuki. Then why haven't you already destroyed Akatsuki? After all, for Juryoku, destroying Akatsuki is child's play, right?" said the Raikage. "Do you think if I were able to control Juryoku, I would have stayed idle and done nothing?" asked Tsunade. Kakashi then distributed the papers containing information on Akatsuki. After listening to Tsunade's counter-question, the Raikage remained quiet and didn't say anything. He started reading the paper containing information about Akatsuki. After everyone had finished reading the paper, the Raikage said, "Why are most of the people from your Konoha?" Akatsuki recruited rebel ninjas from various large and small villages. It's just that rebel ninjas from Konoha were strong enough to survive in Akatsuki, while the rest from other villages were killed. Nevertheless, Kisame from Kiri and Deidara from IWA are still alive in Akatsuki, replied Tsunade. "This is not something to be proud of," said Inoki. "Do you think I'm acting like a proud person?" said Tsunade, looking towards everyone. Each person's expression conveyed a silent agreement, indicating, yes, you really are acting like a proud person. But Tsunade ignored their looks and continued, "I'm just stating a fact, every village has missing nins, and we in Konoha also had missing nins who were considerably stronger than those from other villages." Everyone present in the meeting room had twitching faces, unsure of what to say. They simply chose to ignore what Tsunade was saying. "Now that we have the information, we can prepare our army accordingly and should attack Akatsuki as soon as possible," said the Kazekage. "Agreed. Not only do we have to destroy Akatsuki, but we also have to retrieve our tailed beasts," said the Mizukage. By the way, Hokage, why is Juryoku not attacking Akatsuki? He has enmity with Akatsuki, right? Asked Inoki. As I said, we do not have control over him. He has his own plans for why he is not attacking Akatsuki. Otherwise, do you think we would let our precious Joken die in battle at the hands of Akatsuki? Replied Tsunade. After hearing Tsunade's response, no one spoke. That's the end of this tale for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in part 7. Peace.